Honestly, I was expecting another tech issue to come up as soon as I hit stream, but I think we're live. Like I think they can probably even hear this right now. So I should probably play the intro. There's a chance my mic was open for all of that also.
Yeah, I think it was. I think we both were.
You're all welcome. You owe me an ice cream. I'm trying to decide if originally I was going to do this episode as like a special, like maybe we'll do it another day, like release it on our podcast channel and stuff too, and redo a bunch of stuff.
Fancy.
I would have to record it in a special way, and doing all the troubleshooting beforehand would have... Hi, I'm Jimmy Snow, The Line, this is Promise, and I think that's it. I think we're already kind of warped out, so we'll see y'all next week.
Yeah, 24 minutes of tech issues when I kept telling everybody, just another minute, guys.
0 super chance. We were just waiting for someone to pay us to go live, and then we decided, all right, these guys, they're not going to do it. Promise, did you know that The Line has a podcast?
No, I had no idea. That's crazy. Tell me about it.
That is crazy because you've been on 6 or 7 of the last 8 episodes. I think you've only missed
I thought we were just hanging out and having conversations about current events.
No, that shit's on air. That's been recorded. It's out there. People know what you said. Yeah.
I said so many controversial things too.
Yep. Yeah, there are times where it's kind of like, thank goodness no one accidentally hit live before this moment, before this very show, for example, and the different ways I experienced my frustration and how my my computer needed to be restarted. It's quite.
I told you guys we really had to turn it off and turn it on again. That's actually what it came down to.
Every device after fixing for the problems with the firmware. For the record, it didn't only need that. But then once all the stuff,
guys, that's all it needed.
Once all the adjustments were made and it still didn't work, it turned out it also.
It's true. Jimmy was sitting here panicking, doing all the things and whatever. I don't even know what he's doing because I don't even know how to, use a phone. And meanwhile, I made a meme. So I'm glad that we both have our jobs and what we're good at.
Do you want to forward me the meme? I can share it and we can tell people to go. By the way, we are taking calls 720-619-2288, 720-619-2288. If you haven't listened to The Line as a podcast, first of all, it has its own YouTube channel, which I should add to the description and was going to, but I haven't had time to do anything else because of the stupid tech problems that was the result of a firmware update. Anyway, you should definitely check out The Line as a podcast. It has its own channel on YouTube, and it's also available on Spotify, Apple Music, all that kind of shit. We are taking calls tonight. If you believe that Trump or Musk being this close to everything is a good thing,
That's a way
I'd
to
like to argue with you. Yeah, it's
being close to everything. We'd like them to be close to nothing.
Presumably they're
in black holes.
I think they watch us while we're asleep at this point. Who even knows anymore what's going on? Did you I thought you people were actually describing like a tech issue, but you're just making boner jokes, and so shut up. Okay. I'm quieter and you're echoey is some of the feedback we've gotten. Who knows? Maybe.
Guys, I'm sorry. I don't even know how to.
People make this shit up half the time, so
I think they're right though.
Oh, okay.
The problem is if it's echoey, it's because of the room I'm in, and there's not really anything I can do about it.
I didn't see that the joke was on me.
I can turn my gain down. Should I do that?
I turned mine up. I
turned mine down.
I've made myself louder. Now it's flipped. People are going to be like, nope, this is way worse, guys.
It's actually hurting my ears. True story.
Now Jimmy is clipping. Wait, am I hurting your ears?
A little bit. I can turn you down. Here.
Turn me down.
Yeah, there we go.
Turn me off. All right.
And I turned my gain down, so.
Promise is not echoing. Yeah, I figured that I would hear the echo if there was the echo. I turned myself up. You guys still can't hear me? I don't know. Boy, I haven't done these live shows in so long. They're just all falling apart. The video is upside down and the sound is in reverse. That's on purpose. This show is played for people who perceive time backwards. My special person is telling me how hot I look. Getting a little, hey, you're so sexy text.
That's so cute.
I just got a notification that that was the way. Oh, can you send me the meme over Discord? I was going to show it on here. I need a way I can pull it into the computer.
Yeah, let's see if I know how to do that.
Well, it's pretty much the exact way you just did it, but with Discord. There's literally there's a little plus sign.
I have to. It says Discord wants access to my photos. Now I have to go to select more photos. Now I have to pick the right one.
Yeah.
This is and they're all just little clouds.
That's gonna add like 6 whole seconds. Oh, I don't know how to fix the little clouds thing. I've wondered about that, honestly. 720-619-2288. If you want us to defend your boy Trump, you want to defend your boy Elon Musk. We already have a call lining up with somebody who agrees with some of his stances. We're gonna be talking about that. But this is also a Cus I Wanna, and I gotta tell you, Cus I Wanna give a shit about whether or not this is a good show so far. It's already been ruined in the algorithm, I'm sure, because we started like half an hour late. So, well, 400 of you are here watching. So I guess I'll try and put on a decent show since you guys are okay. You guys are 300.
No, 400. Yes, we'll do it.
Y'all feeling better about the audio? Is that not a new lens or technically even a new camera? However, a different lens and camera than I was using before, but I already had these devices. And I know someone's going to be like, Jimmy, if you already had the devices that would have made your quality of video look so much better, why didn't you? Because it felt like the more expensive camera should have been better. But I've come to terms with the fact that it's a more expensive camera because of the type of camera and function it would serve, not because not that it's going to do this exact job better. So this is my actual like DSLR that's doing that. And that's why it looks good. And apparently we both sound fine. And so I assume that the caller audio will be dog shit when we get started with calls. We just did an episode 8 with Seth Andrews was our guest, because whenever people aren't able to be there for things, we go to our roster of people to join us. And basically we talk about the current events and news and trying to get through these next 4 years. And hopefully that's what we're talking about. The next 4, hopefully there are such good news at the end of this 4 years that maybe I can fucking take a nap. Maybe I can rest. You bastards, I think the reason why Trump won is because I said if Harris won, while there's still a lot to work on, I feel like I could go into the background and not have to host stuff anymore. And I think that's why Trump won. They so badly wanted to make sure that I didn't disappear, that I was still public facing, that they stuffed the ballot box for Trump. That's what happened. I'm positive of it. All 6 of you who just really love me on these shows, you went out and you canvassed.
Not only do they love you so much that they campaigned for Trump. That's an impressive spinning. I saw.
Everybody in live chat, tell Alyssa to get better. She is stranded in another state with you can't fly right now if you have the flu, because that's a thing that's going on. We've got bird flu's coming. Oh, don't worry. The last pandemic we had such a capable guy in the White House that totally didn't make it fucking way worse. It's going to be great. We're very sad Alyssa won't be able to join us for this Monday's episode because she'll probably still be stranded there. But Footless Joe will be joining me. Promise won't be there. She said she hates us. So
no, that's terrible.
People are going to start believing it. And also, I'm not going to show you all yet, but look forward to some new stuff coming because The Line has a new logo. So that's going to be coming, new shows, new fun types of things in the future. But The Line is a podcast. That's the most important thing that everybody needs to, if you haven't been doing, you haven't been consuming, it is on the places podcasts are had. They come out early on Monday and Friday mornings. So you can do it for that commute to work. And if it goes well, we'll do more of them. Promise has said if we hit 500,000 subscribers, she'll quit all of her other work and do it 3 days a week, 5 days a week, I think it was actually.
Yes. Somehow I don't remember that conversation, but let's see how close we can get to it.
You signed a contract in blood to that.
Oh, effect. Right.
Yeah. Yeah, you're
One
all
of
worried
those
about whether or not
contracts
you were.
I've signed with the line, and I just missed the fine print.
And it's what's important is that it's your blood. How I got it doesn't matter. Whether you were awake doesn't matter. The contract is signed. You can't back out of it now. I use the same courtrooms as Elon Musk. I don't know if people know this, that Elon Musk has a specific place in Texas with a judge, because in this district there are no competing judges. So like when he wants to sue somebody, he always sues them using this like long arm thing you can do where you can sue anybody from anywhere in certain places. And he sues them in this specific court. In fact, if you are still a Twitter user and you have a problem with Twitter that you want to sue them, you have now agreed to the terms and conditions that you will sue them at that place with this judge that he shopped for. Like that's the thing. It's his judge. And so he just gets his way. This is like the most fucking corrupt, shitty, I just need to expand my power Bond villain motherfucker. And he's president now, essentially. I mean, he really is the actual president at the moment.
I would love somebody to call in and tell us why it's super great that this billionaire that nobody voted for is now essentially taking over.
Yeah, I'm sitting here going like, there isn't a billionaire from the quote unquote other side that I would be comfortable giving this amount of power to.
No,
like if anybody's trying to say,
if Mark Cuban was doing this, I would still be pissed.
Fuck Mark
like
Cuban,
this is
but
not.
Sure.
Yeah, but I'm saying like as far as billionaires go, that's one of the only ones we have even remotely close to.
He's like better. Like he's like in the order that you eat these rich people. Not literally. You don't literally eat them. That's not what eat the rich is. You feed them to pigs and you eat the pigs. Anyway, in the order that we would eat these rich people, Mark Cuban's like lower on the list, right? But he's still
he's still after Taylor Swift. So
and he's still a billionaire. It is evil to be a billionaire. And if anybody would like to call and argue that point, you're welcome to call in and argue that point, because it is. It is absolutely, there is no ethical way to be a billionaire, period. It is. You are stealing.
To me, how can you say that something is unethical? You're an atheist. You have nothing to base that on.
Well, shit, you'd stop doing their work for them. They weren't going to think of that argument. It is evil.
Yeah, that's a really new one.
We'll probably read supers if we feel like it. I don't know. The thing is we might quit when we give up. I do too, but
we might quit when we give up.
We might quit the show when we give up for the night, where it's just like we hit that moment of, I never want to promise, but also probably will. But like, health stuff notwithstanding, sometimes I quit the show early because I don't feel good. Sometimes I got a bad chum.
The nice thing about Cus I Wanna is there's no set time.
That's true. And
we
actually, to prove
that, be like, that was the show.
To prove it, have a good night, everybody. Can you imagine what if I just did?
I'd be annoyed just based on the time it took to get the episode to start.
I want to tell you all one of my favorite things about Promise that I actually find entirely charming is
I hate whatever this is already. I'm so
scared.
It's not a joke.
It's not a joke. It's charming, but also sad. She has no confidence when she does something awesome. She assumes it sucks. And so she was like, I just made a meme. I'll show it to you, but you're not going to think it's funny. And then she showed it to me, and this was the meme. And it's so funny.
I'm glad you think it's funny. I just thought, I was like, no one else is going to think this is funny, but I was giggling to myself while you were fixing all the tech issues. I went and I Googled the image for myself. I even learned how to open up Canva. And if you guys knew how bad I am at using technology, you would know the effort it took me to figure out how to make memes. So I'm in my meme era, as Alyssa said.
I've never done it. I've only made memes in Photoshop. Now, look, the actual caption and picture for people who might just be listening, it's a picture of somebody picking cherries off of a tree. And then the caption is Christians demonstrating how to properly read the Bible. And it's fucking hilarious. The only thing I dislike about it is the placement and choice of font. Like everything else is great.
So let me explain, because I'm embarrassed now, because you're right. I just went and used the meme, like, what do they call it? Like a template?
Yeah.
Because you were already done fixing. So I was like, now I have to finish it. So I was in a hurry. So that's my excuse.
I wish it was more vertically centered. Horizontal centering would have probably been too formal, but I also like how it somehow it kind of resembles like an old school Monopoly property card. I like that part of it a lot.
Thank
I
you.
like that. Yeah, I love it. I love it. Anyway, I'm I'm not going to show you all, but I'm actually holding the new logo. I'm not joking. In my hand. Y'all don't know.
When are you
Promise,
gonna
Eris.
announce it?
Oh, I don't know. Probably when the thing that I'm working on, probably when I've actually gotten those to the people. Every time we do something where we're like,
But
big
people are
launch,
gonna
new merch,
post-
all that kind of stuff. We always do it. And then it's like, and then 2 months from now, after the hype is gone, we'll all probably get hours and be able to show it off and be like, I'm wearing the Line. By the way, the Line has a podcast. Founders merch is only going to be available probably through like maybe the end of the month. Once I know we've hit our stride in the podcast, we know what we're doing, then we're taking that merch down. So it could be tomorrow, it probably not, but it could be sooner. Jimmy critiques the fonts. I actually wasn't a graphic artist. I was a high-end photo retoucher. You could say I was a professional Photoshopper, but graphic design is actually a different skill. The font choice is probably fine. I just hate the centering more than anything.
Listen, I was in a rush, so
for graphic design, I literally ask AI what I should use. I'm like, the other day I was making.
I don't know how to do that.
I'm working on these things that require like people's names in big, and then like a title, and then like a little like blurb or whatever. And I asked it like, hey, here's what I'm making. I have these 3 things of text. What would be the right combo? And it's like, all right, you should try starting with this. And then I'm like, be more specific. Don't tell me to pick a serif font. Like I know what that means. You tell me the names of the fonts that I can pull out. And by the way, it has to be an X tool. It has to already exist in the app X tool. I don't want to go download a font pack. Okay, it needs to already be there. And so that's how it did it. Yes, I'm cherry picking at her meme. Yeah, but no, I wasn't ever. All right, let's take calls. Let's talk to. Hey, Trump supporters, where the fuck are you? Maybe we should share this to like Threads or something. I'm gonna, you know what I'm gonna be a dick. I'm gonna make it so outrageously douchey. Hey, Trump supporters and Elon supporters. I am smarter than you. If you disagree, call the show and debate us now. Is that douchey enough? I always try to be a little bit more kind, honest, like inviting. And this time I'm just going to go full balls to the wall. Trump and Elon are already a disaster. You were played.
I'm just sitting here talking and I'm muted, so that's good.
What were you saying?
Who knows at this point?
And you need to apologize or put up. Do it. You won't. You're only brave in comment sections.
Oh, we're getting very aggressive here.
Yeah, I don't usually go aggressive with my threads. All right, let's see how that goes. We'll see if that gets us some calls. I love it. I don't know about you. I love it.
It gives me anxiety, but you can deal with the consequences, and I'll just sit here.
But what consequences? Someone's going to
whatever kind of callers we get.
Yeah, but you're gay. Let's see. I'm going to add to it. Number and link to call is in the description. ... That is if you know how to read.
Jimmy.
What? Who cares? Fuck these people.
Oh, man.
Look, if they don't know how to read, they won't have read the thread in the first place.
That's why. Well, let's see what happens.
As soon as they call in, I'm going to get too scared and leave.
Scared?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You know, somebody called the other night and said that I am super mean like Matt, and that's why they only want to talk to Alyssa and not me.
Wait, I don't know what these are. 1 second. Arden just sent me something Wait, what are these, and can I show them on air?
What is it?
I don't know if you're supposed to see them, but I'm gonna send them to you on Facebook Messenger. Okay.
Okay.
These are really funny.
I'm scared. What is it?
I think Arden is out there memeing. I think Arden's making memes too. Did you find him? I sent it to you on Facebook. She said there's a trend that she's following. I've not seen
Yes,
whatever
this is a trend. Everyone's making these Valentines. I love these.
Oh, they're Valentines? Okay, then I like them.
What do you mean? How did you not know these are Valentines?
Okay, ableist.
No, I just... But really, what did you think they were?
I don't know. She just said trend. I was like, okay, the internet's doing something. They literally
look like a Valentine. There's like just Valentine-y things all over them.
Look, people, I don't think it's important to very often talk about female privilege. Obviously, we all know male privilege, but can we just address the fact that this person who's received thousands of them is talking down to a nerdy little autistic boy who got 3?
My grandmother sent them to me, not
whatever.
Like... This is so bad.
Oh, wait, were you homeschooled?
Yeah, I was very homeschooled.
So you got yours, you only got yours from the pastor?
My dad, the pastor, yes, correct.
Yeah, okay, all right. I just felt like I didn't give them
feel like a
Valentines.
jerk now.
Huh?
Said I hope you feel like a jerk now.
No, I don't.
Okay.
No, I don't. Not at all. I'm still ugly and don't get pretty privilege. Okay, let's see. I've got to download all these to show them to people, and then we'll start taking calls. People are gonna be like, "Oh, I hated this episode." Fucking then leave.
Have they ever learned that when you and I do a Cus I Wanna, we essentially forget that we're live and we just hang out, and this is what it's like to hang out with Jimmy and I.
I can say at the beginning of the episode, and I have, Cus I Wannas are not for you; they're for us. We don't care if you have a good time or not, and then someone will be like, seems like they don't even care that we don't have a good time. I don't.
If you do, no, here, let me explain. If you have a good time, I care and I'm happy about it. If you don't have a good time, then I don't care.
If you have a good time, I also don't care. In other words, the good news is if you're having a good time, I'm not going to go, Jimmy. Oh, fuck, they're having a good time. Let me ruin it. I'll celebrate with you like, oh, good that you were able to come along. But this is for me. This isn't for you. All right, here you go, everybody. Here's one of oh, that's the wrong one. I like this one. There's something very gothy about you in this one too. It's so quirky how you interrupt me more, LOL.
Because I do get interrupted more when I'm with a dude.
Sick of your BS? Of fucking course not, silly. I'll ask the question again. Boy, not, I'll
ask the question again. I can hear Matt's voice saying that. I love it so much.
Again. At least he doesn't do it the douchey way Jesse Lee Peterson does. Have you seen that shit?
How does he do it? I don't even know who that is. So
Jesse Lee Peterson. Oh my God. We'll talk about it another time. And then Forrest, OMG. Yes, I'll explain some basic science again. And then
the eyebrow. That's incredible.
Clearly the best one. I like you the way I like direct compliments.
Oh my That's God. So good.
I wonder how old this one is. I feel like my body is, I've changed, my appearance has changed so dramatically that I'm like, no using photos more than 3 weeks old because
you're in your diva era. I love it.
As the face gets there, I've definitely leveled out on the weight loss.
Every week you need to just like send out a mass text with a new image and be like, this is the new image.
This is the one that's allowed now. From now on too, I'll just start posting my weight every time we do that, like once a month, once every couple of weeks, where we check the price of eggs on the podcast. That's the thing we're going to start doing. We did it last week. We're just going to periodically just check what the price of eggs are and everybody can contribute. I think we should keep track of it because remember, Donald Trump was going to start lowering the prices of eggs before he even gets into office. If I win, before I even get into office, you're going to see the prices come down because of the deals he's going to make. Well, guess what? They're going up. Prices of eggies are going up.
Eggies. Prices of eggies. That's a good band name, I think.
Nope. I'm going to grab a bottle of water and then we'll start taking calls.
Great. And I'll just be here talking to everybody.
Will you, while I'm grabbing that, will you complain about somebody in the comments was mad that they think I was doing too much actually to you and Seth in yesterday's episode, because you two would be like, well, I think this is going to work. And I was like, nope.
We wouldn't be friends if you weren't a actually person, because I am also a actually person. I mean, my entire everything that I do is based on saying, well, actually. I get what that person is trying to imply. I didn't feel that way. Also, nobody would watch the stuff we do if you weren't on it. So, well, actually, you should say, well, actually. Anyways, that's all I got. Did you even hear anything I said?
No, I told you I was walking away.
Oh, good. Excellent. Nobody tell him.
I was grabbing a bottle of water. I assume it was excoriating. Can the autofocus please fucking find me? Would that be okay?
It doesn't recognize you anymore. It's like, this is not my Jimmy.
There we go.
Oh.
Okay. That was fucking nuts. The funniest part about it too is that this person was complaining, and I was like, oh, that reminds me. I need to go tell them I told you so in our group chat text, because one of the things you guys said the other day was how, like, you think that it's getting under his skin the way people are calling Musk President Musk and stuff like that. And I basically was like, not really. I think they overplayed their hand, and now it's obvious that they're doing it on purpose to try and annoy him. And I don't think it's having that much of an effect. And then they do this sit down dual interview with Hannity, and they're basically bringing it up, and they're like, yeah, it's pretty obvious, like that they're trying to do it to bug me, blah, 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 blah. And basically acknowledging what I said, that it's, now
okay.
It could be he's lying.
I'm gonna actually you. I don't know why we're suddenly deciding to believe what they're saying in an interview where they have to say that. What's the alternative? They act like it's not happening.
No.
Their best bet is to say.
Sorry, I shouldn't have finished before you said it, because now you're going to look, when people go back and watch the podcast, they're going to be like, oh, actually, Jimmy was super right. I actually specifically said it gets under his skin, and then all he does is call Hannity, and then they run counter programming, and it fixes it.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah. Literally, that's exactly what happened.
No,
I'm not kidding.
Course.
He did a dual interview.
Literally called Hannity.
The day that the show came out that I said that, does a dual interview with Hannity where they're putting out their counter. So if it does bother him, he's done. I think it's resolved
and use it. Yeah, right. It's like, they'll spin it and use it. It's like how I take the comments from Christians calling me a putrid bag of garbage, and I turn it into something to farm for more comments. So I get it. Of course, that's what they do. And then I am saying, you cannot convince me that this isn't bothering Trump. You cannot convince me that it isn't pissing him off every time somebody says President Musk.
Maybe but it's the other thing I had said on the show too, was that all Musk has to know is how to basically kiss his ass about it. And we know that Trump will like anybody who kisses his ass. And that was the other part of this interview. Like, he called his buddy Hannity. They go do a dual interview, and he's just sitting there going, they're saying this because they're so transparent that nobody's gotten as bad as media coverage as I've gotten. It's been 98%, which, in fairness, whatever bothers him about it, I don't know that it's going to bother him that much coming from the left, until we can convince the right to essentially start celebrating that Musk is, or the Democrats, when I say left in this scenario, but that the right is celebrating him as the actual president. I don't actually think it's going to bug him that much, because in fairness, he's not actually that wrong about how much negative coverage he gets. Now, he deserves it and more, but he does. He gets mostly negative coverage, and it's basically wall to wall, you're a piece of shit, because he is wall to wall a piece of shit. From the window to the wall.
I think that, which this is the little teaser, so that you guys go listen to the episode we just did with Seth, which also, when I said this, it got Seth to laugh a lot, which made me feel very proud of myself. I think what I said is what it would take to actually upset him, which was my little controversial. Do you remember what I said? What Elon would have to do a very specific thing that Trump would be jealous of. Yeah. Go listen to it.
Well, now the question is, now that Ashley St. Clair is coming out,
dude,
right?
Is that real?
I don't know. I know that she is trying to get his attention on Twitter or something. And
well, it was the weirdest announcement. Like, everything about it was weird. Oh, are we doing our hair now?
I'm letting my hair
This is
down.
the hair episode.
I feel like whenever I go My hair looks best like the
I'm
day I
so
wash
jealous
it.
of your hair right now.
But now if I take it out of my bun, it just starts looking like a, especially with the headphones on, it just starts looking like a mullet.
It looks cool. Oh, it looks perfect. Don't touch it.
I put
Oh.
them on backwards though. I have to touch it.
Oh, okay. Well, it was very perfect.
I like the way my hair now looks when it's like peeking out of a beanie.
Yeah,
which I've never
look
been
at
a
that.
hat guy before.
It's very 90s of you. Very like 90s.
That's when I was born.
Same.
1990. That means I was conceived in the 80s. Have you ever gone and looked up what songs were probably on the radio the day you were conceived?
I know what movie my parents watched the day I was conceived.
Oh, as a different event or like?
I have no idea, and I didn't want to ask for details. So
why do you know this detail? I went and looked out on my own accord. I didn't ask.
My cousin knows the story, and she told me because she was living with them at the time.
Oh.
But the movie was Pretty Woman, in case anybody wants to know.
Someone in the chat said Jimmy low-key looks like a Hemsworth. You, if you smell pennies right now, go to the fucking ER. You're having a stroke.
No, I can see it. I was gonna say there's these brothers from the 90s, and they all had the like perfect 90s hair.
The Lawrence
like you'd
brothers?
be one of the brothers. Maybe
Joey,
that's what I'm thinking
Joey
of.
Lawrence?
Yeah. See, and you even knew it, so I'm not wrong.
No. You said there were brothers from the 90s. Unfortunately, if we're talking about a famous group of brothers, it's them and Hanson, and I'm not blonde.
Well,
who would the other brothers have been?
Someone said that you're rocking the Scott Stapp hair, and I think that's the actually funniest comparison so far. You don't know who that is?
I am bad with names. She's so mean like this, where it's like, just maybe I do know who it is. I don't know, but the name doesn't ring any bells.
I'm sorry. I was homeschooled, so I'm just like, anytime somebody doesn't know who somebody is, I know who they were. That's like the best excuse you have back. That's the only appropriate rebuttal to that. So
anyway, who's Scott Stapp? Is that who the staph infections were named after?
Go look him up. Look up a picture. Just tell me why. I mean, it's funny. Well, because you had to look at the picture.
Okay, but who is he? Oh, by the way, a little.
He's a singer. I'm trying to pull up a picture.
A little Scott.
You know
Stapp.
Creed?
Oh, Stapp. Yes, I know Creed. Okay, I know who Scott Stapp is. Jesus Christ, people. I know. Yeah. Oh, man. Did you know they played the Super Bowl years ago? How the Super Bowl?
Yeah, it was incredible.
Wait, I actually think. Let me see if I can still do it.
Oh no!
Pulling out the guitar.
I love that we have all these callers, and we're like, actually, what's gonna happen right now? Wait, are
any of you from Threads? I think I can remember it. I don't know. I haven't played it in years. I don't know. No, I don't remember it.
What were we about to do?
I used to know that song. Hold me now. I'm still here from the world and I'm the God. Whatever. It's not even a real guitar. These aren't strings, people. It's cool.
Play Wonderwall now.
I don't know Wonderwall. What was the one everybody was learning with? Well, everybody learned Stairway to Heaven, but I don't remember that one. My first one was Hero from Enrique Iglesias, which then I learned how to sing in Spanish because I was a 14-year-old little fuckboy.
Sing it.
Trying to get I can't do it for long or we'll get the. I think we've already hit copyright. Si una vez yo pudiera llegar. You have to sound like you're crying when you're doing it. A regresar de frío tu piel.
That was not bad, actually.
Tell me about it. It can play drums for you. It's got a built-in drums. A quemar. Yes, it is a MIDI guitar. Que sello tu boca y morirme allí después. I like to put on the little Spanish. Because is Enrique from South America or is he from Spain? I feel like I remember that he does more Castilian, right?
don't think that's right. I'm going to look it up.
You don't, I feel like, I don't think he says yo. I think he says show. Que sé yo tu boca.
I don't think that's true. He's
Oh.
from...
He does have...
maybe. You're right. I'm wrong. Everybody just know that.
Boom!
You're very right. Congratulations.
I like Spanish. I'm never taking requests. I'm not even that good at guitar anymore. I haven't played in years. Not well. All right, we'll take calls.
Let's see what you've conjured up.
Ryan in Tennessee, you're on the line. What's up, Ryan? Did you know the line is a podcast?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hey, how are you all?
You're very quiet. I don't know if that's our fault or your fault, though. Could be either.
Is this better?
I think it's our fault. Give me a second, Ryan. Let me improve the audio here a little bit. I think it's me. It's not me. It's you. The thing that such a lie. I don't know if I've said it or heard it more often. I feel like I've used it and had it used on me. All right, Ryan, say words.
Hello? Testing.
Yeah, it's good enough for me.
All right.
Yeah, Enrique Iglesias is from Madrid, people. Just so everybody knows. I don't know how to play Freebird. Ryan, you're on the line with Promise and Jimmy, and this is me restarting the call. So if we decide to clip it, we have a place to clip. Go ahead. You want to defend that Donald Trump is pretty good.
Well, I don't necessarily agree with him on everything, actually. Quite often I disagree with him, but I will say that I agree that we need to be harsher on border and that I'm against open border policies. So
Why? Actually,
Why?
before we hit why,
Personally-
let me hit you this, Ryan. Which party was actually ever suggesting an open border between Harris and Trump, the Democrats and the Republicans? Who ever suggested open borders? Because Ryan, I'll tell you, I am for open borders. Open borders not meaning you don't check who's coming in, but we have an insane immigration and border policy right now that's extremely cruel, that is actually designed to make sure we have illegal immigrants so that we can have a cheap workforce, that is actually designed to be abusive. And we actually should go back to some of the days that all these conservatives who think that the good old days should return. How about the good old Ellis Island days, where if you were here to work, you were here to be, you got to just be an American. But anyway, Ryan, you like him because he wasn't for open borders. Well, by the time Biden left office, they had lower illegal immigration and lower overall immigration than the Trump years. So who was it that was for open borders?
A lot of the people that I've spoken to who call themselves liberals are extremely for open borders and less restrictions and security measures. So considering that politicians just pander to their stakeholders, I would say it'd be the Liberal Party.
Okay, well, Ryan, I don't believe you, because I'm also not going to argue on behalf of people you tell me exist. The Biden policy was not remotely open border policy. The liberal policy is not remotely open border policy. But right now, the fact of the matter is we have millions of people who are here, quote unquote, illegally, who we actually need to stay. And now we are having immigration enforcement that is happening in a way that is also going to cause further inflation, because they are making people afraid, even who are here legally, because they may know people or be connected to people who are here illegally, afraid of going to work, which is also going to raise the cost of goods. So it's wild, because all these people seem to have these issues with the potential of what they're calling open border. I don't think you all even know what an open border policy means. I think that you use that as like the same way the all side uses liberal as an insult, when it's like, y'all, and by the way, I use liberal as an insult too, but at least I know what it means. Ryan, I don't, this isn't computing at all, because you're saying you voted, I assume you voted for Trump. Is that correct?
No, no.
Okay, well then so you're just happy he's there, and what? That he is continuing the Biden era level. Right now, they haven't even met a higher level of daily deportations. He's actually deporting at roughly the same rate Biden was too. The types of people who are being deported are the same people who were being deported under Biden. So what better is he going to do besides the fact that he's planning to expand to be more cruel and send people back who aren't a threat, whose quote unquote only crime is being here illegally, that once again our economy actually depends on, who are people who pay taxes but don't receive any of the benefits? What is the actual thing he's going to do better than Biden did from your perspective? Because again, I am pro open border personally, because that is actually the best times that America had. We should vet people and let them in and then give them a fast path to either a working visa or citizenship should they want it.
Well, I'm in agreement there. There should be a process where we vet them, but in order to do that, you have to go about it the legal route, and I'm for forcing that. And
which is why we want to make it easier to make it legal, so that we can allow people that have no reason to not be able to be here more easily, instead of constantly just creating criminals when it's just people that are trying to immigrate and not people that are actually committing crimes that are harming other people.
Well, then I'm in agreement there, because I want the vetting process to be thorough. I don't know if I necessarily agree with making it easier, though.
Why? How has immigration affected your life poorly? Because I can give you 100 ways it's actually made your life better. Can you give ways in which it makes your life poorer, more unpleasant?
Well, an influx of homelessness, that's going to be absolutely annoying regardless, because you're going to have a situation where you're bringing in more people that a smaller economy can't handle.
All right, let's say that you're right, even though you're wrong. Let's say that you're right with that example. Okay. An influx of homelessness. Are illegal immigrants able to get any type of benefit from the government if they are here illegally?
No, they just get
correct. So your taxes are unaffected. They wait and look for a job. By the way, the homeless issue is mostly actually American citizens. So when you say an influx of homelessness, again, how are you, Ryan, poorly affected if there are more homeless immigrants who literally don't have the resources that you as an American get if you are homeless to go and take advantage of?
Correction to my earlier statement. I'm saying that the taxes that I pay, a good portion of that is going to go to support influx.
In what way?
I think it was the FEMA, either the FEMA or some organization spent billions of dollars of putting them into hotels where that money could have gone to the North Carolina residents that were impacted by the hurricane.
What are you talking about? Billions of dollars putting who in hotels? Illegal immigrants?
Yeah.
Please give me the source of that information, because why do I know if I try and look it up that it's not going to be that it's going to be, in fact, a normal program, again, not for illegal immigrants. I don't know what you're talking about, billions of dollars. And please give me the source you already have prepared, since you are depending your political position on this, and it isn't something just off the top of your head that you're now going to go Google and hope that you can find something.
I was going to pull it up, but I don't have it ready right now.
So FEMA, billions of dollars is what you said.
I'm pretty sure it was FEMA.
Put illegal immigrants in hotels.
Yep.
Do you feel like if I repeated it 9 or 10 more times, it would sound like this? Something about this is wrong.
Yeah, I'm pulling it up. ABC News.
Okay. And it says, because I've already found the PolitiFact fact check that says, nope, that's not correct. How do you feel about fact checkers, though? I mean, we're talking to a Trump apologist.
I wouldn't say I'm a Trump apologist. I would just say that I agree with being harsher on border policy.
Why? Why would you be harsher on the most vulnerable people in the world? I also want to keep terrorists out. I also want to keep out violent thugs. Is there a version, is in your mind, do you think that open border means don't check anybody? Don't check their affiliations. Don't make them prove their prior citizenship. Don't have them check out. Because right now we have a blanket policy that everyone is essentially treated like, oh, person might be anybody, a terrorist or whatever, even though if you were to travel to a European country, they would trust the records. They would be like, no, this guy's you're going to have unrestricted travel and you're probably going to have access to work in a lot of them, though more and more European countries are realizing that there's not a lot of value in importing American work because of what pieces of shit we're being to the rest of the world. So that part is changing. But if you were to go, you're wanting to go and work somewhere else, trying to put in effort to take care of your family, you're not going to run into a lot of restrictions, mostly because of the color of your skin. There's also a disproportionate amount of enforcement on this. We don't try to keep people from Canada from coming here, or the non-shithole countries, as Trump had put it in the previous ones, the way we try to keep brown people out. So when you say I'm for this stricter, stronger enforcement, the only places I can find that it is stricter and stronger is specifically as how it applies to brown people, especially from Latin and South America.
Well, for your first point out of all those points, yes, I honestly thought open borders meant far less restrictions and way less vetting. That was my understanding of.
It's a much faster process, and you don't have to vet people who are clearly here to work. You don't have to vet. I mean, you do the initial vetting. You go, yeah, here's you. We see your government record of here, whatever. You and your family, great. It's pretty clear you're here to work. Here's the places you're going to go look for work. Here's whatever. This wasn't a problem. Ellis Island wasn't a problem. This is an invented issue we have. We have plenty of great ways to figure out if a person is a terrorist or not. And we could go much, much faster in getting people working visas and citizenship. Our current policies are cruel. They are meant to make it hard and to push off any ability for you to have any safety from the government of what if while I'm here working, I should lose my job, even though I'm here. Should I expect the people whose economy I am fucking here supporting to, through their taxes, take care of me in that little period of time while I'm trying to figure out getting back to work? That's the stricter immigration stuff, is if a person comes here and they don't go through a very expensive and difficult and tumultuous thing that realistically only is going to mean that companies like Elon Musk's will have the resources to import those people. And guess what? They're not pulling from the brown countries a lot. That rich people are going to be able to basically sponsor these and figure out who can bring in. Everybody else, fuck them, make the process hard. And then if that job stuff doesn't work out, doesn't matter. They've been supporting the economy and taking care of us. Fuck them. We're not taking care of them back. We already have a very cruel immigration system. This is already awful.
Then do you not support building a physical border to therefore prevent illegal immigrants from coming over and bypassing that process?
Most illegal immigration regarding the things that you are worried about, people like from cartels, sex trafficking and the like, doesn't happen at the border. It comes by plane. So those physical crossings, you are literally talking about, let's just try and stop the people who are the most vulnerable, just trying to get here any way they can. It's not that I don't believe if it could stop the actual problems that we shouldn't use something like that. And obviously we strategically do. But as far as how long the border is, which seems to be something nobody conceptualizes, we can't watch the whole thing. They've already defeated the wall. And it's not even a wall. It's
also a lot of people that are here undocumented, it's due to overstays on a visa. So they came over here with a visa and then they've stayed, and now they're considered, according to Trump's administration, a criminal because they've overstayed past their visa. I guess I have a question for you, Ryan. I'm curious more from a personal standpoint. Is what you're saying is your concern is, having more criminal activity? Like you're okay with people that want to immigrate here and just start a new life and all that. You just don't want more crime. Is that so? So here's my concern, because I don't want more crime. Nobody does. I don't know anybody that's advocating for let's bring criminals over here and let them out and just do everything. I don't know anybody advocating for that. But what I'm seeing is Trump using our tax money to go after anybody relentlessly that is over here past their visa or whatever, that he considers now a criminal simply because they're in the country undocumented. He doesn't give a shit why that may be. He doesn't care if they're actually a criminal or not, like causing harm to other humans. And so when my money is being spent on going and invading the homes of families, I mean, I live in a neighborhood full of immigrants, and it makes me really scared for some of them to think that they may be here undocumented and could face a breakdown of their family like we see happen when ICE invades places. So how do you feel about that, knowing that your tax dollars could be going to a family that nobody's causing problems? They're here, they're just trying to work, they wanted to start a new life. And now family members are being taken away from their kids or from their spouse, even though they haven't caused what you would consider a crime not worthy of being an immigrant. But because Donald Trump has decided if you're in this country undocumented, you are now a criminal. Like, I'm just curious where you're at with all of that.
To summarize your question, you're asking basically, how do I feel about families that are torn apart from, let's say, the parent being here on a working visa, and then the working visa expires, and then their doors.
It doesn't even need, not even that specific situation. How do you feel about your tax money going towards mass deporting people without trying to at least categorize, hey, first we're going to try to go after those that we know that have criminal history here, that have overstayed it? There's none of that's happening. They're just saying, if you're here and you're not documented, you are now a target, and we're going after you, and we're using everything we have. We're coming at you, guns blazing. How do you feel about that versus, hey, maybe we just focus on people that are committing crimes, we go after them like we do to citizens here?
Well, I mean, to some degree, you do have to regulate the work visas, but you do make a point that there should be a prioritization of actual criminal activity. That
right, and the people that I've voted for before, or who I wanted to be able to vote for, that's what they were advocating for. Some kind of responsible, like logical process to all of this. And this is not that. What I'm hearing, the rhetoric I'm hearing, and then the actions I'm seeing they seem to be very hate-fueled, but I don't like that my tax money is being spent on just attacking a large group of people because somebody has decided that they are all criminals and they're equal criminals. They're all bad. They're all terrible because of this one thing.
Well, I don't agree that all crime is equal. I mean, that's kind of a Christian concept, but I think there's definitely levels to crime, and there should be prioritization, but there still needs to be regulation to enforce the work visas, because if you get a work visa and you come here and then it expires and you're here for another 4 months, you're still bypassing the process, and rules and regulations.
What should happen to those people? Somebody comes in, they bypass it, and by the way, we're still not addressing the reason why people do end up overstaying visas and the incredible bureaucracy that is in the way, that it is an overcomplicated, ridiculous system. But what should happen to those people?
I am by no means a policy reviewer. I don't know that, like, off the top of my head what the policy is.
Right, but what should it be? If you overstay a visa, what should happen to you?
Well, I would imagine there would be a check and procedure where, you're notified, hey, you've overstayed your visa. You have 2 weeks or, 1 week to reach out. If not, there's consequences, legal consequences. What
should the consequences be of overstaying the visa? Not what should you find out about. What are the consequences?
Fine or deportation.
Great. So do we agree that Elon Musk should have been fined or deported under your stuff?
For what?
For when he overstayed his visa. Elon Musk is currently supporting essentially what you're describing, deport the people who are overstaying. He is the head of our government, essentially. The motherfucker overstayed his visa. But he gets to be in charge of kicking other people out. And let's be clear again, they're not going to kick out the white ones. I am the child of one such white one who was an illegal immigrant for a long time.
When did he overstay his work visa? What are you referencing? I don't know this.
I believe it was in the 2000s, but yes, he overstayed a visa.
I mean, I didn't know that, but well, I guess.
Does it challenge your approach here? His student visa when he first started his entrepreneurial career in 1990.
It looks
Well,
like it
I
was in
mean-
1995 when he was here legally because he had quit school, and so therefore he no longer had reason. Which this is what happens to people a lot. They drop out of school for one reason or another. Well, whether it's health issues or finances or whatever, and so they're trying to figure out their life. They've dropped out of school, and now technically, legal according to the government, they don't have reason to be here on their visa anymore. And if you keep staying because you're trying to figure things out and sort out what's your next move, then that's illegal, and you're supposed to be deported. Do you think that's right?
No, but there should have been a procedure to check and given him time to possibly set it up, and if not, then deported. I don't think you should just.
And do you know what?
Deported, but
Do you know why
the
he
end consequence
didn't?
Should be that.
Do you know why he didn't? For the same reason one of my parents didn't. Because they knew as the spouse, in my parents' case, the spouse of a white American, and as a white person themselves, that they weren't actually in danger of being deported, that they would not be at all prioritized. So, Ryan, you need to go and look up more about the positions you have because they seem very much like, well, I heard this, well, I heard that, well, I heard whatever. And it sounds to me just like rumors. Go work on that and make sure that whatever consequence you would extend to any of these immigrants that are overstaying working visas, usually still working, apparently that's not even enough to renew it, just the fact that they are still working, these people who are overstaying visas, whatever consequence should apply to them will apply to Elon Musk. We're going to leave you there, though, Ryan.
Well, going back to your earlier comment, though, real quick, you said that all the crime was imported from a plane.
No, I didn't.
What were you
I said that crossing the things that you are talking about, crossing the border, isn't the problem. A wall does nothing to do with it. So yes, many of the people, drug trafficking and all that kind of shit does often happen by plane. It's not the only thing that it does, but a physical barrier at the border is not going to stop the actual crime. It's just going to stop vulnerable people and make it more difficult for vulnerable people to cross. So the actual solution there isn't, well, let's build a wall because the vulnerable people shouldn't be allowed to cross just because they're vulnerable. They're still breaking the law. I know that's the kind of dumb shit people are going to say and do. The actual solution should actually be to take the border and give a place for the vulnerable people to cross in easily and not make the refugee process so hard. These are people who come with a desire to work, with a desire to have a good life. They aren't wanting to live off of welfare or anything like, though they may need help to get started. But the people who are coming that you would be causing obstruction to for at the border by putting up the wall is just an exercise in cruelty. It's not an exercise in actually trying to save anybody from crimes.
I just pulled this up and it says the majority of illegal immigration comes from those that have overstayed their visa, which is double the number of people that are caught trying to cross the U.S.-Mexico border.
What's that source?
I can put it in the chat if you want. It's from a study here from 2017, but I'll put the Department of Homeland Security published figures. So I can send you that if you want, but it's the Department of Homeland Security. So I'm not sure we're going to get a better source than that.
I think it's wild that people really have this visual in their head that there's like drug mules with just giant backpacks of cocaine on their back trying to get over the border. They don't use it that way. They enter through legal ports of entry. They come on the back of a semi. They come in trains. They come on, they fly them in. Sex trafficking is mostly done, is mostly flown in. There isn't some elaborate, it's not Breaking Bad. There's not some special tunnels that run 40 miles each direction. It's literally, it's a corporation that's illegal. And by the way, it unfortunately also supports the shit out of our economy. We wouldn't have a good solution for how much economic problems there would be if the drug trade just suddenly disappeared either. Not to say that we shouldn't still solve that, because there is obviously terrible drug crime going on. But also we don't penalize and we don't go after the people who benefit on our side of the border. We only bastardize and go after the brown people. I was going to give more elaborate thing, but let's be honest. It's the brown people we go after. Ryan, we are going to leave you there though. Go ahead.
I'm going to put this article that has the data cited in it in the chat right now. So you can go check that out. But also if you just search, just do an internet search, you can pull up the study yourself. If you pull up what's the main cause of, or main source of illegal immigration in the U.S. So.
Yep. All right. Thanks, Ryan.
Okay.
Thanks, Ryan. Have a great night. Thanks for calling.
Yep, y'all too.
Thank you.
Please know what you're voting for or supporting before you decide to support it.
He said he didn't vote. That's what makes me sad, though, is because I think that was a decent conversation with Ryan, but a lot of people are hearing these talking points. Sorry, I have like a cough drop thing because I'm losing my voice. But a lot of people have these.
I was mad.
Okay, cool. A lot of people have these talking points that they hear that's supposed to incite an emotional feeling where you're like, oh, wow, I can't believe they're letting us do that. Oh, I can't believe we're not taking care of this. Oh, this is a problem. And that's how they get you, is they're like, well, there's this. You might not agree with us on any of this stuff, but we're going to scare you enough with this one. And if you don't check your facts or your sources, then you're going to be calling a show and defending something that you maybe don't have full information on. So I can hear my own voice. Why is that?
You hear your voice? Is it faintly?
Yeah, that was awful. Maybe it was just your headphones.
How about now? Can you still hear it?
I'm talking. No, I'm good now. Thanks.
Yeah, I turned my headphones up. By the way, to the person, thank you for trying to be helpful. However, it is not correct that my audio is not tied to the caller's audio. It's just adjusting all. As people know, we started late because there were tech issues, which basically caused me to have to reset everything. So kind of on the fly, resetting all sorts of sound levels and shit. But hopefully going forward, everything should be closer to better, but I'll keep an eye on it. All right, from Ryan to Brian. We're talking to Brian in Florida. Brian, you're on the line with Promise and Jimmy.
How's it going?
Just peachy. Was it my thread that got you to call, or was that not it?
It was. You do a good job. And,
thanks, buddy.
Actually, the other day I called into a different. Hey, don't congratulate me too soon. You'll probably hate me soon enough. I called into another show and had a conversation with some liberal folks. I thought it was a productive conversation.
On the line, you called into the line to talk to a liberal folk?
Well, they were doing on the phone, but they were doing a YouTube show, like a call-in show.
Are you talking about on this channel, or are you talking about a different channel?
Different channel. And so I'm like, all right, that was kind of fun. I'll see what else is out there and have another conversation.
Great. Well, it's your meeting, sir. Give us your presentation.
Yeah. Well, the thing with the immigration, I think, so the treasonous thing comes up a lot, and that's what goes through my mind, and I believe it is treasonous, the letting in of illegal immigrants. The reason being is because it affects the number of seats in Congress that we can actually... No,
it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
No, it doesn't.
It's based on the census, right?
And the census does not... This is another old myth. You do not get more. You do not count people who are here illegally.
That's not true.
Yes, it is.
Well, you can look it up. I mean, anyone who's listening can look it up.
And I have.
I don't know what to tell you. That's just a fact. Like, the census includes all populations of the area.
No, it doesn't.
Hold on. Are you calling it in support of Trump? Is that right?
Yes.
But we're talking about treason?
I think it's I think they knowingly let the
When do you care about treason and when do you not? Do you care about January 6th when treason is committed? Or when do we care about it? When do we not?
I don't think that was treason.
Okay, gotcha.
No, because the reason being is he would need to have staged an insurrection. And I think that's the reason that liberals use the word insurrection, is because it has that power in the Constitution. But there's a legal standard for inciting an insurrection that he didn't meet. And they would have shoved it up his ass if he did meet that standard. And he didn't meet that standard. So that is what that is. And I think letting people in the border, knowing that it's open, letting them, knowing that they're having an impact on the congressional seats, I think that's treasonous.
Yeah,
think
except for again, that isn't true.
I mean, the census itself, you can look it up, census.gov. It's verifiable.
I know what the census is. I know what the census is.
Maybe you can provide a link. If you provide a link that says that illegal immigrants aren't included, then I'll perhaps reconsider.
Oh, perhaps you'll reconsider. If you accept whatever source I have, when your source so far has been, trust me, bro, and please go look it up, to which I'm just going to say back where you're having a conversation, and I'll just tell you back to go look it up.
Oh, I said census.gov, so that's a source.
Census.gov does not, you said, give me a linked source to where it says immigrants aren't counted. So when I type in census.gov, what you're telling me, stop, census.gov, when I open it, since you're saying that is your source, the source is going to say, by the way, illegal immigrants are counted toward it's going to be the counter.
I don't know
what
you just said. Honestly, whatever you type in your search thing, I don't know, but look it up. We're right here.
Oh, you just said census.gov will get me there. Okay, census.gov.
Let me get up. I got to get up. You guys are the ones with the computers. I got to go to the computer.
Yeah, you got to look it up. You got to look it up for the first time ever.
Can I put you on speaker? Well, I don't here, can I put you on speaker for a sec?
Go ahead.
All right, one sec. Can you hear me?
Yep.
All right, one sec.
Well, we can't just go to complete silence, though, either. We're not going to just sit there and...
So, yes, illegal immigrants are included in the U.S. Census. The census counts everyone who lives in the United States on Census Day, regardless of immigration status. This includes undocumented immigrants and green card holders.
Sir, you're just reading to me something you Googled. What are you looking at? Where?
Here's the URL. Frequently asked questions. Census.gov /topics /population /foreign-born /about /faq.html. At the bottom of the page, it says, do the data on foreign-born collected by the Census Bureau include unauthorized immigrants? Yes, the U.S. Census Bureau collects data. I looked it up before, bro. You don't need to be an asshole.
Oh, sir, yes, I do. And by the way, so far, the URL you just gave me didn't get me there. I don't know if you said it wrong.
I'm going to keep going. It's a long URL. It's a very long URL.
You're fine, Brian. I'm pulling it up myself. Brian, shut the fuck up when I'm talking to you. I'm going to pull it up too. I can find the stuff myself. On your topic of treasonous, is it then therefore treasonous? Are you saying Biden committed treason?
I suspect that he did, yes.
Great. So Trump's immigration policies also had similar amounts of immigrants deported. There were the differences between them. In fact, Biden's was lower than Trump's when he left office. So has Trump also committed treason if his policies did not actually dramatically improve it in his 4 years?
He's trying to end it, though. That's the difference is Biden.
What do you mean?
Wants it open.
So wait. So whether they do it isn't what matters. It matters what they want. Trump has had full government control twice now and hasn't stopped it.
So you think he won't try to close the border?
Oh, I think he's going to do anything that looks like that, but a full closure, no, because it's terrible for billionaires like himself. He's definitely not closing the border down. He's going to do things that he says is closing the border, just like he pretends he already built the wall. You know, when we built that wall, shut the fuck up while I'm talking, Brian. This is the problem. Why people, dude, you're such a little bitch. Shut the fuck up while I'm talking, dude.
You're just mad.
Why can you not shut the? No, you haven't gotten me, Brian. You've only given me trust me, bro. Okay, watch, buddy. Watch this, buddy. This is where I can offer you the opportunity to shut the fuck up while I'm talking, or I can force you to shut the fuck up while I'm talking. You think you're so right about everything because you just say this trust me bro shit, and then you're jumping in with over talking me when I'm making my point, so you don't even fucking know what points I'm going to make. I haven't even had time to pull up and verify what you think is correct, though I already know that the data has shown that any adjustments for illegal immigrants has only perhaps adjusted one seat ever. But you're going to sit here and go, you're going to hate me by the end of it. And it has nothing to do with the fact that you disagree. It has everything to do with the fact that you're a little fucking bitch. That you're a little fucking bitch who cannot shut the fuck up while somebody else is talking. Shut the fuck up. What point were we on, Promise? Do you remember?
No, I'm still stuck on the fact that we're talking about treason while we're voting for Trump, but...
Oh, right. Is he going to close the border completely? No, he will, just like he did with the actual house, with the actual border wall. He will claim he did stuff while not doing anything that's actually going to harm billionaires in any way. That's what he's going to do. And that's literally like, it's going to all be for show. Now, Brian, thank you for waiting very patiently. I have no desire to get interrupted anymore. So if you're thinking I was going to unmute you, you were wrong. Bye, you little bitch. You're going to hate me because...
I'm just bummed we got hung up on that one point because I feel like there was a whole nother part of that conversation, but...
It's already been debunked a bunch of times.
Regardless,
it is already adjusted for. It's already figured out. And
well,
as far as census data goes, when they go and they study it, illegal immigrants don't admit to being there either. Like, it's not, these aren't people being like, yeah, here's all of my information. Let's talk about it. Let's do it. Not to mention, just fucking moving on. What were you going to say, Promise?
No, it's okay.
Who do you want next? You can take a look.
Oh boy. I'm not sure. You got to pick. No, I'm not excited about most of these.
Well, I was looking at other stuff.
Okay, here. I'll just pick one.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let's talk to Steve. Hey, Steve, how are you? You are live on the line with Jimmy and Promise. What did you want to talk with us about tonight?
Oh, I might still have little bitch muted. Sorry.
Uh-oh.
Okay, Steve in Michigan, you're on the line.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
It's going.
Good. How are you?
Not, life.
I hear ya.
Yeah. I'm actually curious to know what you guys think, or how you think the idea of separation of church and state can be achieved in our country, because obviously right now it's not happening. What in your, like, I want your personal opinions of what do you think that we could do to make that happen, so that it's, because right now a very, very strong Christian agenda is being pushed onto the population, in my opinion. What do you guys think could be something that...
What?
What do you guys think that could be something that, like, in your opinion, that that we can that would be useful going forward?
For combating, you mean, I just want to make sure I'm clear. You mean for combating this Christian lean that we're seeing?
Correct.
I mean, I'm not an expert in virtually anything at all, so I don't have all the answers. I think I'm doing what I know to do as an individual, which is, doing things like hosting a show here on the line where we regularly address a lot of these dogmatic beliefs and the harm that they cause. My own work, that's what I do, is I just completely focus on talking about the hypocrisies and the lies and the harm caused by specifically evangelical Christianity, which is what I think is the main monster we're seeing in all of this in Christian nationalism. And that's how I grew up. I grew up in a Christian nationalist household, being taught that that's, what I was called to facilitate in this country and everything. And so I'm doing what I personally can. And so my best advice to an individual is to figure out what you have to offer when it comes to this, and whether that's just supporting other experts in the field, whether that's learning what you can so that you become an expert in having these conversations, whether it's running for local office to be a dissenting voice. But as far as, some massive, amazing solutions, I'm the last person to ask, because I don't have that answer. But I think it's just figuring out what each of us can do on an individual level, and finding community and linking up with people. And other than that,
a lot of it,
it's really
a
not
lot of
good.
it makes
Steve,
you feel kind of powerless.
I'm gonna jump in just to get ahead of comments and stuff in the for the future. So Steve, actually, I'm gonna come back to your call in a minute, but we're gonna talk about the stuff with the census.
Yeah,
I was probably wrong, kind of. I think I thought that Brian was making a different point. However, Brian is still interrupting little bitch, and I have no regrets about getting rid of him. The Congress is locked at 435 votes, period. Whether or not you in the census are, no matter what the census does, it's not going to change that. And the states aren't going to change what proportions the states are getting. However, where within a state representatives are distributed is based on census data. And the census data may count, though again, we've already seen from studies that people who are here illegally don't report themselves in the census, but they're going to count the total population and basically say, if I am in this area and these are the number of people are in this area, that place gets a representative and other places get representatives. So the breakdown, which I thought he was talking about the number of representatives, that you're going to have more Democrats in because they got whatever, which isn't how it works out. However, the distribution within a state can be changed based on that census data. And that is, that part is true. Not the point I thought he was making. If that's the point that he was making, then he is technically correct, on that issue. Whether or not he was, I'll have to go back and listen and see if that is, it would be something else. However, before it gets too far away and gets too long, again, I still have no problem kicking him off the show because he was being an interrupting little bitch, and I only have so much patience for that shit at all.
But
and by the way,
what about
real quick, Steve, before you go, I'm not quite done yet. Also, that's a good thing. It absolutely should be. Again, we are talking about a group of people who are mostly here working and supporting our economy. The treasonous stuff was dumb as fuck point because, again, Trump and Biden have not been dramatically different on their border policies. Biden tried to repeal some unpopular ones in the first place and then ended up actually doing more conservative things than Trump had ever done. When it comes to, though, the people who are in an area, whether they are there illegally or not, to say that they should be represented in Congress, no matter who they are, that is true, especially if you were talking about that it's a bunch of, if you were like, yeah, but there's an entire state of cartel people and they're getting cartel representatives. Well, that's not a fucking thing. People should be here, who are here should be represented. And the fact is the thing that is quote unquote treasonous, since we're going to use that word in dumb ways, would be cutting off access to that representation for people. Anyway, all right, go ahead, Steve.
So then you have states like, was it Oklahoma that did they wanted to institute the, sorry, I'm looking at your screen and I'm getting thrown off. They want to institute the like a prayer, like a national prayer, like they used to back in the 50s, at the beginning of every school day kind of thing. Was that Oklahoma? Or no, they wanted the Bible or Ten Commandments. I'm sorry.
The Ten Commandments. Yeah, I mean that's a thing we've seen in multiple places many times. Yeah, for whatever reason they're really into the 10 Commandments and putting them everywhere.
So how do you combat something like that?
I don't know what that's going to look like in the coming years. And I don't know. I think they're going to go for way worse things than just displaying the 10 Commandments. I think I really love the way that different organizations like, I always forgot to say, is it the Satanic Temple? Is that what it is? Or the Church of Satan or whatever it is. The way that they've gone after it, which is basically by trolling them back and saying, well, if you have the religious freedom to do that, then we have the religious freedom to put up a Baphomet statue or to teach a program after school all about Satanism, to kind of show like, are you going to make this fair, or is this about religious freedom, or is this about a theocracy? Which we know the answer, they want theocracy. And that's the territory I think that we're getting into now, is the Christian nationalists are going to be fighting for things way worse than putting up the 10 Commandments. And I don't know what that's going to look like, or how we fight back against that, other than building better community. Like I said, finding out how you can support your local groups that are specifically meeting together to figure out how to address these issues. And they're the ones paying attention to, when different books are being banned and things like that. So I wish I had like some amazing answer of, this is the plan, guys, and this is what we're going to do. But I just don't have that at all.
Yeah, I don't either, Brian.
I mean, it almost feels like we need people within government, because obviously the Christian nationalists have their folks inside the government, and it's like, well, we need.
Yeah, they have training groups. They have training groups. They have training groups all over the world, specifically for this sort of Christian theology to go and, dominate. It's dominion theology to dominate in every country. Right. And it's not just in government. They're also training them to be pop stars, or to be actors, or to be educators. They have a plan. They're organized. And I think you're not totally off course here by saying it seems like we should do the same. Yeah, I mean, that's what it is, that we have to organize. We also have to get people together, and what Christian nationalists, what evangelicals are phenomenal at is community. And I do think that's what we have to get better at. They are really good at rallying together and organizing. And even when they have all their differences and difference in theology and stuff, they find this thing that they agree on and run with it and stick together. And it is something it's a strategy that they have excelled at, and it's gotten them to the point that they're at now for a reason.
Yep.
And the thing that scares me is that it's based, their strategy is based on fear. That's what scares me.
Totally. And that's how they get people to believe in God too.
Powerful. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I hear you, Steve. I wish I had more helpful, hopeful things to offer, but I do think if you walk away from this phone call with anything, I think it's that finding community is what we have to work on the most from here, like moving forward, because we can't even begin to get organized or have a plan or figure out what our strategy is until we have community.
Right. Today's plan is to hopefully affect the next elections, which are the midterms, as far as what we can do here and stuff. There's going to be other stuff in the meantime. Hopefully there will be good organized boycotts. Hopefully there will be good, but at the moment that we don't have a lot of leverage. And so changing minds is the best thing we can do from this platform. There may be people from other platforms and in other positions who can do more, but as far as your personal contribution, that's probably the best you got right now. All right, Steve?
Yeah, guys, I appreciate you taking
one seat in Democrats' favor, potentially, not actually play. Now, also a reminder that those, we're talking, so 0 to 1, this big treasonous thing, 0 to 1. It may have shifted the balance to 1 in Democrats' favor. So listen to Brian or anybody else. Here's the deal I give you. You can take away all of that. You can census data and only have it distributed among people who are here legally if, in return, every voter suppression barrier is also taken away. And then I'm content. You can do that, even though it's cruel, even though it takes representation away from people who are still here, who are working, who are fucking supporting you, Brian, as long as then also all of the ways in which the vote is suppressed. Because you and I both know that if you take away gerrymandering, if you take away voter suppression, the Republicans will never win a fucking House or Senate ever again. You know that if we actually did something like mandatory voting, we made everybody who is here in some way or another vote, same thing, that if the population votes in mass, that they're not going to win those things again. But I'd be content with that. Let's do that. Let's make that trade. No more voter suppression. And then the census data that causes distribution of houses, those seats, you get back that 0 to 1 may have happened. Oh, and by the way, if you actually look over the years, it's not always in the Democrats' favor. That 0 to 1, the distribution is basically equalized because Texas has such a high occurrence of. And so these people, these illegal immigrants, they don't get to then vote for the representatives, even if you change a distribution of seats. So let's just do that. That sounds like a really, really good trade. Let's have somebody spicier who's not going to just interrupt. Bum, 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 bum. Wait, are all of these? Okay, we'll talk to. I'm very excited to hear this. Ulrich and I remember Ulrich. And I remember when we talked to Ulrich. You last time, you weren't very truthful. Hi, Ulrich. How are you?
Hello, I'm fine. Yeah, and you?
Fine, Ulrich. What you doing?
I'm really well. So, should I just make my point, or
yeah, go ahead.
It's going? So, I think Trump is really good for Mexico because have you seen what is happening in Sinaloa? They're in a big mess. There is violence in the streets. The cartels are in control. The government is doing nothing. So Trump is setting pressure on the Mexican government, and it actually works. So now they start to do something, at least, finally. So it's a good thing he got elected for Mexico.
I wish you would have just ended it with "Trust me, bro."
Trust me, bro?
Yeah.
What do you mean, trust me, bro?
I don't trust you, bro. That all of those things you've described are actually true, bro. Because I know that the analysis coming out of the parts of the political movements in Mexico that I do agree with, which aren't a lot of them, because Mexico is, yes, a pretty corrupt country, but they are not coming to similar conclusions. Not to mention the trade war that is beginning between the two of us is going to hurt y'all even more than it hurts us. So these politicians that you are thinking aren't really doing anything, what do you think they're going to do when they're going to get richer, but the poor are going to get poorer because of the trade war? Those politicians you have zero faith in, you think that they're going to be like, yeah, now, you think Trump cares about poor Mexicans?
No.
Of course not.
However, it's still...
So he's going to wreck your
matter.
economy, but you're feeling glad that you think some of the government's responses to some cartels are Trump responses, even though that again, you're talking about things that had begun in the Biden era with the policy changes that happened after that thing that they like to call making Harris a border czar, where they actually started addressing the violence in South American countries and then taking those policies and applying that to the relationships with Mexico. But you're thinking that Trump, what specific action is Trump doing? Because as far as I can tell, he is trying to figure out a way to give you an influx of our overstayed visa people to figure out and take care of. What is it you think he's doing that's helping? Specifically, what policy?
He declared the drug cartels terrorists, and now they can really start to fight them because so far nothing is done.
Who can start to fight them? Who can start to fight them?
Americans.
America isn't fighting the cartels like that. What are you talking about? Oh, gotcha. So you're saying we didn't take the cartel violence seriously before, but now we're going to, and that's going to change how the cartel treats people in Mexico, because in Mexico, do you think American soldiers are going to cross the Mexican border?
I think they do that all the time, just not in uniform. We know that they're meddling.
Okay, great. Ulrich, great. You have a conspiracy about a thing you think that happens all of the time. I'm talking about in a formal way, like you're describing right now. Do you think that we're declaring war on the cartels and going in and having a formal military incursion in Mexico?
I hope so. It hasn't happened yet, but I hope so. We're going to that direction.
So you don't actually think that Trump is good for Mexico. You hope he's going to be good for Mexico because you think that a violent military action on a large scale like that will put American boots on the ground is going to be good for Mexico.
Yeah, especially for Sinaloa.
Let me tell you exactly why it's not going to happen, because that means that Trump will have officially declared some kind of war, and American white faces will take bullets in Mexico, and he's not going to let himself be perceived as the guy who started and did that. He's not going to start an actual violent war at the border. It would be too optically terrible. He would not have the Congress's support to do so. Even this Congress he wouldn't have, and Congress is who gets to fund those wars, decide what wars we're going to be in. So Ulrich, you don't actually think he is good for Mexico. You have a fake thing that you think he's going to go down and he's going to go full Rambo and do. He's not said that he is going to do it. He's talked about putting the National Guard at the border to shoot brown people on our side, but not on your side. But you're really hoping that that's what is going to happen, and that's why.
You are really obsessed with skin colors somehow.
Yes,
Mexico, we don't even get that.
Why
Americans
I
are
actually,
obsessed
you are
with
correct. I actually am somewhat obsessed with skin color. I am obsessed with the disproportionate way that people who do not have my complexion are treated because they don't have my complexion. And the difference in how you would be treated at the border, whether you were there legally or not, versus how I would be treated at the border. I would say obsessed is a correct word. You're right. Now, would you like to make an argument relevant to the point I actually made, or were we going with just logical fallacies and distractions?
No, the point is the war on the cartels would not be a war even at the border. It would be some specific actions, even like really quick actions, like taking some cartel.
I understand that you love the idea. You like the idea of it. And let's call back if that happens. Let's talk about it. Let's see. Maybe that'll be something that happens that ends up being beneficial for you. I don't know. Then we can talk about it. But all you have is this idea that maybe this thing is going to happen. But what we're hearing over here is this America First rhetoric that's awful, that is making Americans grow more and more hateful, specifically towards Mexicans. And it's really difficult to watch that and know that rhetoric is being used now with these intense immigration policies, and then to watch it encourage, we have the Proud Boys and we have actual Nazis marching around and all of that. And so I'm not here. I'm trying to understand why to you, President Trump is a good thing for Mexicans when that's not what I'm hearing on this end at all. And that's not even getting into the trade war that, as Jimmy already pointed out, is going to be awful for all of us. Unless you're a billionaire, which, why are you calling us? You have better things to do if you're a billionaire.
Yeah, he's not even polite about it. His America First actually means at the cost of the other people. You are who he is thinking of taking from. When he's saying, we're not taking enough, we need to take more and stop worrying about other countries. You're describing as though if it would not provide a tremendous financial, especially benefit for rich people, he wouldn't do it. That's the point. If you're sitting there going, I really hope he's going to help the poor brown people in my country out of the goodness of his heart, he's not going to fucking do it. It's not going to help him get reelected or whoever he's going to put his power behind next time. There is no incentive for him to do it, and there's lots of downside.
Okay, then why is he declaring the cartels terrorists?
Because it looks good on TV.
And also they are. I mean, I can agree with that. That doesn't make anything else go away. The issues still remain. I'm talking about the issues still remain in all these other ways that Trump is terrible, not only for the US, but also for Mexico.
I think you don't get my point. The leftist government did not take this problem seriously.
You never had a leftist government.
We've never had a leftist government, so that's problem number one.
Biden is not a leftist, and you haven't had a leftist government either. You don't know what leftist means.
We have a leftist government right now in Mexico, and it's pretty terrible.
Great. Are we getting back to the point, or are you just throwing in another one? Biden was not leftist.
Okay. Whatever. The point is they didn't take it seriously. Now Trump, even for show, for propaganda, but he's taking it seriously then and doing the right thing just for propaganda, just to
for propaganda. No, listen, it will have some other effect because they're declared as terrorists. There will be more human rights violations, which because we basically as a country, if we declare you're a terrorist, we now actually get to violate the human rights of not just terrorists but anybody quote unquote attached to them. So actually, Ulrich, it's arguably a bad thing. But again, in effect so far, he hasn't even been a more strict authoritarian asshole about it than Biden has. Now, I think he plans to be, but again, that's only going to be on America's side and to his benefit, not for anything that is on your as your benefit.
Okay, we will see. We will see what happens then.
Okay, great. Trust me, bro.
And what I'm concerned is going to happen is now that he has said that, he's gone on the record about the cartel, which I can agree with the sentiment, but he's essentially now given himself the ability to, oh, you're from Mexico, and now I think you're a terrorist, and now I don't have to abide by these certain laws and regulations because I'm suspicious of this. And now, do you see how the profiling can happen based off of that? And it becomes a major issue. It's all while he's going with this America first, very racist rhetoric, and the majority of his main supporters are cheering him on every time he disparages anybody that's a different race other than white. Can you see the issue there and the concern? Because you have this hope.
Why is it always
and I
about
have a concern
race for you?
Because it is about race, you fucking idiot.
I'm concerned about you. It's all about race for you all the time.
Shut up.
I don't care about race.
I don't care whether you care about race. Yeah, go ahead. I muted him. Fucking Christ.
So I'm bringing up race because that's what Donald Trump has brought up a lot, and that's what his supporters bring up. That's what they bring up at their Nazi rallies and at their Proud Boy rallies and all of this. And I don't remember the names of all these other racist groups that specifically talk about race. That's my concern. I have to suddenly care about race once that becomes the issue at hand. So I understand that it sounds like this buzzword thing that's happening. That's not why I'm bringing it up. I'm bringing it up because it is relevant, because we have a president that is very racist and that is trying to implement what I think is going to end up being very racist policies. I just expressed to you what my concern is. And what I'm telling you is you have this hope that these things are going to happen with the drug cartel. I hope that you're right. That would be amazing. If something good could come out of this Trump administration, it means that we get rid of some of these drug cartels that are harming innocent people. I'm not going to ever be upset about that. The problem is we don't have any evidence that that's happening yet. So you're calling in saying, oh, it's great because of this. And my rebuttal to that is, since neither of us have evidence of either yet, here's my concerns. This is my problem. And I have to bring race into it because that's part of my concern and what's going to happen, because I understand what's happening in the US here is people here are obsessed with that and they are racist. So that's my concern.
Ulrich, who's a bigger trade partner, Mexico or Canada? To America.
Probably Mexico, but I'm not sure.
Yes, it's Mexico. So here's the answer to why we want to talk about race, because there is a reason why Donald Trump broadcast that he wants Mexico, or rather Canada, to be the 51st state, even though he doesn't. But the reason why he has no problem saying that and trolling that out, and there's a reason why he doesn't suggest the same for Mexico. And the answer?
And what's the reason for that?
It's fucking race. What do you think it was going to be after that? I already explained, by the way, I don't understand why you would so stupidly say, why are you making it about race, when I already explained to you why it's about race? Because that's what it fucking is. That's why every election we hear about the caravan that's on its way, and then the caravan coverage completely goes away the day after the election. They are obsessed with race to the negative in the same, it's like you're calling, bro, if this was fucking late 1930s Germany, would you be calling the people who were talking about like the problems of the way a political party was treating the Jews and be like, why are you so obsessed with the Jews? You're always talking about them. Yeah, no shit, because these people are down to kill them all. And Ulrich, you are sitting there. Ulrich, yes, they are. Ulrich, Donald Trump does not care if you die tomorrow. And if he could make $5 extra, if you did die, he'd be down for it. He does not care about your life.
But this is
a lifetime of observation, sir. The absolutely callous way and callous response he has to your country and other brown countries, and the type of support that he wants and the type of immigration he wants from them, and the absolute disdain brother, go look at his fucking cabinet. Go look at the difference between, not that the Democrats aren't a bunch of virtue signaling idiots too, but they are at least less evil. Go look at the difference between the representation and distribution of just the White House staff now versus the Biden years or the Obama years or the Clinton years. And you go tell me what that sea of faces looks like. Warning, one of them might
More
hurt your
female.
eyes. It might be more reflective or not. Great. Yes, there's
More
also
female, more women.
What are you talking about? There was definitely more women working in the White House under Biden than under Trump. But we are right now talking about race distribution. Go look and have fun with it. Ulrich, you literally are sitting here just talking about fantasies of some sort of Rambo Trump. You have drank the full Kool-Aid. You have a great day.
Okay.
Bye. Now I want to get lectured. Go ahead, Ben. You're on the line. I don't know if you saw this call queuing up. Ben, you are on the line. Ben from South Carolina. You're on the line with Promise and Jimmy.
Hey, how's it going?
It's just fine, Ben. Give it to us.
Hopefully,
Hey, Ben. Wait. Hey, Ben. Okay, go ahead.
Yep. Sorry. Yeah, I was going to say.
Wait. Okay, wait. No. Hang on. Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
Amazing.
Yeah. Are you wondering what's happening here? I'm wondering. Are you feeling respected right now as I'm interrupting you?
So I was going to preface.
Hang on, Ben. I'm just making a point to you, Ben. I am going to actually let you talk now. I understand that you are calling in to explain to me that I should have engaged in good faith with a caller, even after the caller had switched completely to bad faith. And now, go ahead and make that point.
Sure. So I was going to preface with saying that the audio quality on the end of like the audio coming to me, it's actually not amazing. So like if I do interrupt or just keep talking, even when you're saying something, that isn't my intention.
Well, luckily we've already established you can hear when I interrupt you, so we're good to go.
Okay. Yeah, I'm listening intently. Yeah, my issue wasn't necessarily that, like, if he interrupted you, then you should be able to put your foot down and say, like, whoa, look, you gotta not interrupt me, bro. The issue was more of the, like, insistence or the way that you're insisting on, look, I am right with, like, full confidence. And the insistence on using derogatories or insults to characterize someone who thinks otherwise. Now, like, it is 100% fair to be insistent on your view, especially if you know that you have the better evidence on your side. The issue is, like, you said just a bit later after that the whole point of the show is to look towards next election and see, look, we got to change people's minds here. We got to affect the next election. In my view, and in the view of many people at this point, the whole reason that Trump enjoys any semblance of support over and above like 30% of the populace is because of a wave of resentment towards, people who are inclined to pretty much just call people who disagree with them dumb or stupid. Now, you can think that that's a very shallow way of viewing things or a very tribal way of viewing things. I agree with you. I 100% agree with you. But that does make it such that that way of engaging with people plays entirely into their perception of the way things are. So it's not that it's a tone police. It's like, I'm not.
No,
I'm not tone police.
yes, you are, Ben.
Here.
Ben, actually, yes, you are. Look. Everything else you've said so far, I don't care. It's your opinion thing. If somebody's going to go bad faith, I'm going to go. In this point, I don't give a shit, and I'm going to react in the way that I'm going to feel the most cathartic, because changing people's minds doesn't necessarily mean changing the mind of the person on the phone, especially when they are engaging in bad faith. But Ben, if you're going to sit here and you're going to do that whole fucking lecture, and I just sat through the whole thing and let you do it uninterrupted, don't fucking lie at the end and say you aren't tone policing. Own that that's what you're doing. I'll tone police people. I don't fucking care if I feel like it. Just say that it is what you are doing. Don't give me that fucking... So it's not tone policing. I'm just telling you that I think your tone was wrong and that you should do better, and that I think I know the way to do it better. And Ben, I hope you do know the way to do it better. I think if you do know the way to do it better, go do it and you will probably experience what everybody else here at this network has done, which has essentially been, there are many people at this network with a variety of approaches to it. And you know what I did? I went and I fucking hired them. Because my approach is different from Promises, it's different from Seth's, it's different from Matt's, it's different from Aaron's, it's different from Alyssa's, it's different from Forrest. It's not that different from Forrest, but the other people, we're all pretty different.
A little similar to, yeah. Even Alyssa and I have really different ways of doing things. Which I love. It makes the show more interesting. We ask different questions. We approach conversations differently. One of us is more down to take certain calls. The other wants to take this other kind. So, I don't have to agree with how my co-host runs the show or how they carry themselves.
She doesn't. She hates
me. I get to just show up and be myself and do my thing how I do it. That's why I appreciate that Jimmy has all of us with our different ways and doesn't tell us how to do our job. He just says, I think you'd be good at this job. Here you go. And which is crazy and maybe stupid of him, but here we all are. And so I think that's what those of us on the line do have in common, is that we respect that we have these differences. I mean, you'll hear different ones of us even on the show be like, I wouldn't do that way. I wouldn't do it this way, if we have that relationship with that person. And some of us don't. We just sit back and we're like, yeah, think to ourselves, I wouldn't do it that way. Or that's exactly how I want to do things. And I'm going to learn from it and change and do that one day. But we don't tell each other how to do it. We don't say we need to make a rule where no one can hang up in the middle of somebody's sentence, or nobody can say this or that. We do things in our style, and some people, well, you'll see the comments will be split 50-50. That was brilliant. I loved how Promise handled that call. Amazing. Alyssa needs to be more like that. And literally for the same call, you'll see, God, I can't stand Promise. The way she did that, that was awful. Alyssa should have handled that entire call. So that shows why all of our different voices and our different tactics and methods and personalities that come out, because we're also humans on the other side of this, why they're needed. Sorry, Jimmy. I feel like I just mansplained your situation for you.
You did. So. How dare you? You fucking bigot. Ben, also, I mean, at the end of the day, if you had called in, and this would be the difference between, I suspect, myself and somebody like Brian, and maybe I'll talk to Brian next time and we'll see if he can do better with, apparently, I guess his problem was being talked down to a little bit. And in fairness, if you called in and said, hey, Jimmy, well, first of all, I don't know if I would, we don't really take these lecture calls that often, but this one felt fun. You should have slowed down and made sure you actually understood his point, because you clearly reacted to the wrong point, what you thought he was saying. And I would have been like, yep, that is what I did wrong. But as soon as he started interrupting me 3 or 4 times, I think it was in a row, I was done, because I don't fucking care at that point. And when you're jumping there and you're declaring your own victory and shit, it's like, all right, go enjoy your victory elsewhere. If that's what you think just happened here. At the end of the day, the original point was stupid. But the point where he got hung up on was when he would not let me talk. Multiple sentences in a row, much like Ben at the beginning of the sentence. Now, I do think it is very funny that you think if we're just nice, we'll win over the Trump supporters. Because then I'd ask you to explain to me how Trump won. How Elon, who literally this week called somebody on Twitter, just a random guy, the R word. Which I'm mostly not repeating. I think I'm allowed to repeat it, considering I'm R word, but I'm autistic, is the joke. Anyway, literally calls somebody, we'll say redacted, on Twitter this week. The most powerful man with the most institutional and financial power in the world right now, just subjecting a person to the absolute pile-on and bullying of all of his fan base, and just talking down to this guy for making a joke that actually he was right about. Because the guy basically, it was a tech term, basically said something along the lines of, today I found out that Elon's never heard of SQL. And he goes, this R word thinks that the government runs on SQL, which it does in many places. So anyway, I think it's hilarious, the idea of, like, if anything, I think that we need to grow balls and ovaries and shit and start calling shit out in a better way that is right, that you can actually back up. But I'm not positive all of the fucking lectures, all the fucking tone policing. I think that's the stuff people were the most frustrated by, of the like, so what you're telling me is even if I'm trying to be good, if I'm not perfect, you don't want me. So fine, I'll go give the vote to the people who are like, we'll fucking take Blair White, even as we like get rid of her fucking rights as soon as we get elected, but we'll welcome her into the fold, even though she's everything we find repulsive and hate. We'll welcome in, women who want to speak, even though as we take their rights away, we'll be welcoming. But I think that's the fucking difference between us. And I don't think it has a thing to do with, you were mean to fascists. You were really mean to them. And that's what pushed them away in masses, as opposed to the very kind Republican Party.
Sure. Yeah. So let me try and make sure I got all your points there so I can respond to them. So the first one would be that, like, I was being dishonest by saying that I'm not tone policing when the perception is that I am.
I'm just saying, own it. I think I'm not worried that you're lying. I think you might be lying to yourself, maybe, but just fucking own it. It's exactly what you're doing.
Right. That it's an inconsistency in what I'm saying. Am I correct?
Sure. It's not a big important point to me. I'm just saying, fucking, if you're going to sit there and literally give a 2-minute lecture of tone policing, maybe end it with like, look, I know nobody likes being tone policed, but I think it's whatever. Fucking just own that it's what you're doing.
Sure. Right. Okay. So, first of all, I should have been more clear. You're correct that in some sense this is tone policing. I meant to say that this is, I want to clarify that I'm not merely tone policing. This is not mere tone policing. That it has substantive effects that I think are important. So in that sense, apologize for not being clear.
Sure.
I take your point that even if we're doing a kind of tone policing that we think is really effective or is important, that we need to qualify that this is not, some sort of perfection gatekeeping. They were not purity testing, because you are correct. I think that the kind of purity testing in leftist circles does get a lot of laughs from conservatives, and this is fuel for their fire, or what have you. I want to make it clear that when I say that it's not mere tone policing, I also follow this up by saying that good faith argumentation, or not being overly confident in your views, even if in some sense this is somewhat performative, just because it's on a platform, whatever, that good critical thought does require good faith engagement with interlocutors, even those that, tick you off or do things whatever.
I don't think so. I don't agree.
Why?
I don't agree that when you're having lots of conversations, you have to be consistently polite and good faith and maintain the same level of good faith. Because while shutting somebody down and shutting them up and ending the call as an argument style is not actually bad faith. It's actually just terminating the thing. It's just kind of mean. Sure. And I meant to be mean. And I'm not going to sit there and play an unequal game. I kind of threaded it about it this week. I'm really fucking tired of this whole, like, I can go and give a soliloquy, a lengthy, like, here is why we are correct with all the studies and the sightings and everything. And then the other side gets to go, yeah, but you're fucking gay. And then they win. Like, that's the whole fucking thing. And so if they're going to resort to that, as long as they want to be battling and having battling soliloquies, I'll soliloquize all up and down their assholes. But until in the short term, I literally just did that to see if Promise was paying attention, to see if she laughed. Anyway, in the meantime, if a person resorts to bad faith, I don't give a fuck. If you're going to just sit there and I'm not even necessarily saying I want to use the term bad faith for the constant interruption. I don't know what term I want to use. If you're going to be a rude little bitch, I'm a bitchier bitch. And I'm going to let that side out of me. And I'm not going to just hold back on, like, yes, let's just model for everybody, letting somebody be a total shitbag, and maybe we'll just get through to them. It just, like, to me strikes as such. I'm not trying to accuse you of some, like, really shitty sexist shit, but it just strikes me as that, like, where you, like, hear fucking people talk about how their mother gave them the advice when they were being abused to just, like, kill them with kindness, and maybe you'll be able to convince. If that was fucking like the transformed wife's advice to people back in the day, like when a person's being terrible and abusive to you, just like remind them of your Christiness and sweetness and see if you can sweeten them back into. There's no fucking function to it at that point. So end the call, call them a dumb bitch motherfucker, and move on with your day. You'll feel better. I'll feel. I won't feel better till I pee. I've needed to pee for a while, but
Sure. No, I understand that. And to be clear, like, and you know,
I mean, this is your last point, by the way. I'm so tired of talking about tone now. So just give your last soliloquy, and then let's move on.
Sure. So, to be clear, sorry, that just completely threw me off for some reason. Oh, the double standard. To be clear, like, what's happening right now with the government is like a coup. It's like really horrible shit's going on, right? And I do not want to say like, oh, this just means you need to lay down and not fight. Like, to be clear, that's not what I'm saying at all. I am making a particular point about the way that, you know, we cannot let the way that we fight compromise our ability to think critically. And so if you want to like say, look, you've interrupted me, you're a bitch, good night, goodbye, whatever, great, amazing. That's not what I heard. I heard, you're wrong on this, you're wrong on this, you're stupid because you're wrong on this, you're wrong on this because you're stupid, like this, and then hang up. And so those are very different, and they're substantively different. And
yeah, Ben, I don't know what to tell you though, because I'm very aware, and I made the point right after that I lost my desire to continue the conversation and hang up because of the interrupting. Was actually continuing and trying to make a point and couldn't get him to, even after saying stop interrupting me, he then switched to you're a bad guy, bro. So I switched to and you're a bitch. So Ben, you know, I don't really care what you think you heard. You can go back and listen and assess it again, but we're not going to sit here and go the difference of opinion on whether or not I know what I felt, and I know what actually pissed me off, and I wasn't feeling defensive about the shit he was saying I was defensive about. I know the thing that pissed me off is he started interrupting me and wouldn't stop, and once told he was interrupting me, didn't stop then either, which by the way had already happened earlier in the call, and he was given the opportunity to pay attention to that. So Ben, I don't really care what you think you heard. You were wrong because you're saying based on what I heard, you know the intentions inside of me. You know what's in my heart, and you're fucking wrong. So go tone police elsewhere, Ben, or go do it better, and we'll hire you when you prove you can.
Question: did I claim that?
Okay, sure, Ben. What the fuck is the point of the call if the thing that you're saying, yes, by the way, you did make claims. I don't know what the word that means there, that we're going to be very pedantic, but you said based on what I heard, it wasn't what you said you felt. It seemed more like this. So yeah, you kind of did claim it, Ben, but we can sit here and now take the conversation down to the most pedantic form of I'm calling in to make a point, but as soon as I'm shown to be wrong, I'm going to do a level of like, but that's not the point but is that precisely what I said? No, Ben, you're right. And you're going to make the best show in the fucking world. You won't even be able to, you won't let me hire you when you do, because I won't be able to afford you. You're going to do it so much fucking better than me. Ben, have a good night. Say goodbye. Otherwise you're going to feel very self-righteous about the fact that I hung up on you.
Sure. Have a good one.
Did I actually say that the point that I just made was the point I was making? Fucking Christ. Was I overreacting? Please tone police me if you think I need it. Promise. I mean,
me?
Yeah.
You want me to tone police you? No.
Yeah.
That's why I love this show, is because I don't have to be responsible for the person next to me and how they handle things and what they do. Because obviously if you start saying like some Nazi shit, then I'm going to be like, hey, I'm taking over your channel now and you're fired.
All right, Brian's called. Sorry, Brian called back. Should we? I'll take him back. I'll take him back.
Oh God.
And prove I can be good faith. Huh?
I said I have to go to bed after this call.
All right. Sorry, everybody else. We're going to go to Brian next. Let me fix the name tag. We'll put Brian back up.
You want me to moderate?
No. I can mute him if he bitch when he needs it.
Oh, God.
All right. I pulled you, Brian, it's Jimmy. I pulled you out of the screening room so you could come back on. Okay,
What's up, man?
What is up, dude?
Right.
Have you been listening? You've got fans now. I just got tone policed by an atheist about being too mean to you. Were you listening to that call?
Yeah.
I feel bad. You know, you were a little mean, but it's okay, man. We're all good. It's
All
just,
right, Brian.
You know.
So let's talk about the specific points. Let's clarify everything earlier. You are aware that 435 is the limit and no amount of illegal immigrants is going to change that, correct?
Yeah.
Of congressional seats. Your point is that the distribution of those seats can be affected by, or even are affected by, the number of illegal immigrants in the area, where those seats are going. That is your point, correct?
Correct.
And that does appear to be correct. How significant of an effect do you think it has, and do you think it is only to one party's favor?
I don't know, man, because it's 11%. So the numbers that I've seen, and we can, verify them or whatever, but and even if it's not 11%,
what specific are you saying is 11%? That 11% of the population is illegal? 11% that actually report on the census is illegal? What is 11% specifically?
Well, my understanding, and maybe we need to dig down on the data, is that if you were to take a snapshot of the United States and you were to, lay it all out there, about 11% of the human beings in the United States would be illegal immigrants.
Sure. And why are they here illegally? Most of that 11%, what percentage are here
illegally
to work, are here as overstayed workers, are here as well, actually, let's just go with what percentage are the ones that we desperately need to get rid of, like the violent people, the cartel, the drug people. What percent would you say of that 11 are the bad ones?
I couldn't tell you. If I were to take a stab at it, I'd say maybe 1%.
Cool. I agree. I think it's that or probably less. So right now you have a flawed immigration thing that either the flaw is that there are that many illegal people, or rather there are that many people who are quote unquote here illegally. That's more y'all's phrasing than mine because I think it's weird phrasing, but they are here illegally. They're here undocumented. They're overstaying visas, whatever. Some percentage of them are here. The problem is either that we have a process that is too hard or that we're letting in too many people. Do you feel like it is one way or the other? Which way do you think it is? Do you think that those people shouldn't be here, or that for the most part, that 99% should be able to be here legally with documentation?
I don't think any of them should be here illegally. I think we have a legal process.
Do you understand?
And they need to follow.
Okay, right. I understand that. But okay, then I'll back up a question before, because I think I covered that with my question and it was missed, and that's fine. Do you think that the legal process is a big part of the problem, and that legal process is, I'd use the word ridiculous, but actually part of at fault, and that if we would improve that legal process should be improved to make it easier for a huge portion of those 11% to be able to be here legally, not necessarily as citizens, but with continued working visas, or whatever refugee status, whatever is necessary.
Yeah, bring them in, man. I look at America like a business, and if their heart, is to build a family and learn what the American dream is and contribute, and I think that's great. They can go in the front door like everyone else did.
Sure, but the front door right now is tough. And by the way, a reminder that most of them did go in the front door. They are mostly here, that most illegal immigration is overstaying, right? Like Elon Musk overstayed.
Sure.
So that is most of the reason why they are here. And so we're talking about, where is the actual problem? Are they the problem? Are they jerks for getting here? If they are refugees who are worried about actually getting refugee status, and to them, it was actually the most important thing that they just get away from their harmful thing. And so they were like, well, look, here's the illegal means by which I can get there. Are those the people that we just need to treat contemptuously and get rid of? But it sounds like we're mostly agreeing that anybody who is here that isn't here nefariously to be here shittily, we should have a legal process. And if you want to call it, they should come in through the front door, fine. But the front door shouldn't be lined with fucking what are those things, those pins, those tacks that people, it shouldn't be like entering the house from Home Alone to go through the front door. It should be easy. If you are here and you are not a violent felon in your country, you are not a piece of shit, it should be easy for you to be able to renew whatever reason you were here before. Is that for the most case where we are in agreement?
I don't know if it should be easy. I think this is the greatest country ever. And I think we have a risk on our hands of becoming too big, too fast, a culture breaking down.
What
and
culture?
I think we have American culture.
What is American
What is
culture?
American culture based on? Yeah.
It's the American experiment that all men are created equal.
Which is what? But who decide? Who are the men that even wrote that? I mean, do you know what America was founded on?
Right. When I hear American experiment, I hear melting pot, large amounts of immigration.
Immigrants. The only thing that is American culture is other cultures because we've immigrated. Well, obviously, then we have Native Americans as well. But aside from that, which we came over and just colonized everything, our culture that we have is immigrants.
It's also, Brian, it's a weird,
So how are we
contention
messing up
in general.
culture with more of what gave us the culture?
Right. To me,
because it's different, because it is slightly different, because they're not going in legally. And my ancestors came in through Ellis Island and filled in the paperwork, and
right, and that was it.
Easier.
That's all they had to do. They filled out the form and were welcomed with open arms. Brian,
a different world.
Wait, Brian, but Brian, do you think that was a better day? That was better immigration policy, what we did on Ellis Island? Because you know what Ellis Island is, right?
What is Ellis Island?
Open borders. It's an open border immigration policy. That's what Ellis Island was. It was full on open borders. So whether or not you want to say you don't agree with open borders now, if you like the Ellis Island, you have to say you used to think open borders was good. And then you have to come up with why it's bad now.
Because it's illegal now.
Okay, so we need to fix that it's illegal. The only problem is that it's illegal, correct, Brian? Brian, because it sounds like you're saying arbitrarily these people are wrong because we changed the law. So right now, I can drink water out of this plastic bottle, but if tomorrow it's illegal, would it become immoral suddenly, or would the difference just be the law?
I mean, it was the law when they... Okay, so good point. So let's just take this. So if someone was here and then they changed the law that you can't be here illegally, then they should be grandfathered into it. But I don't think that's the case. I think it's always been illegal to immigrate and overstay your visa.
No, first of all, the concept of visas isn't... America hasn't had this whole concept of you could become a citizen for a favor and a smile back in the day.
Also, the first Europeans that came here just showed up and started taking over. There was no immigration process whatsoever. You wouldn't be here if it weren't for open immigration policy, whatever you want to call that. So I'm not understanding why you're okay with that then, but now it's the time. Now that you got yours, now is the time to shut everything down for everybody else. I'm confused.
It's just a law. We create laws as a country.
So then why do you not want to change? Why do you not want to fix the law? Why do you want to take advantage of the fact that you didn't have to worry about that law and therefore you're a citizen now? But now you want to, suddenly you really love the law, even though it would not be okay for you in the past.
I haven't said that. I mean, I don't really have a specific opinion on the standards of immigration. All I know is that we have standards and we have people breaking those standards.
And humanity matters more. Right. And my counterpoint is that humanity matters more. So, Brian, I bet you I can get you to agree with me so quickly here. Democrats fucking suck. They're dog shit. Yes or no?
No.
Oh, see, I disagree. Democrats fucking are garbage. Now, here's the thing. I think that Republicans are bigger garbage. That Democratic policy fucking sucks. I think it's trying to put a Band-Aid on a gushing wound. And I thought we would agree on that. But I guess we don't. What about Republicans? Are you? Let's just go with Democrats are inefficient and they have sucky policy ideas, including in immigration. Does that work for you? Do you agree with that statement?
Yeah, I do. And I think it goes deeper than that. I think with Democrats, I think, I voted for Obama.
Can I just continue? Right? That's fine. Can I just continue where I'm going with it before we go on asides?
Sure.
Okay, Republicans, inefficient, and they also have sucky policies. And let's just say with both of them, most of the policies are to benefit them to stay in power more than they are to benefit individuals. Would you agree with that? Both, across the board, I think that.
Yeah.
Okay, great. immigration policy, therefore, having been crafted by these two parties, is likely going to be set up to benefit the parties more than they are to benefit citizens and individuals. Is that also correct?
Not necessarily.
Okay. Well, I'm
as long as-
going to tell you here, Brian, that is exactly the case. And we
as long as we can vote.
No.
Sorry.
Brian, I wish I had your optimism, but the fact of the matter is, the fact that we even have a quote unquote two-party system that 98% of representatives fall into, when almost all Americans don't feel represented by those two parties, shows that that whole system is broken down. To get into a political office, it is much more important that you know somebody or you are born as somebody. Much like to be rich, it's more important to be born rich than to be a hard worker. The immigration policies as they exist right now are to benefit those parties and to get them the support of the parties that are going to put them into office. And then when it comes to the Republicans, the reason why it is so beneficial is because cheap illegal immigration labor is key to a lot of their businesses and in general key to a lot of their states' governments. That doesn't mean the Democrats don't also benefit from that kind of stuff. Of course they do. Yes, California benefits from illegal immigration and cheap exploitive labor, and so does Texas. So we're talking about two sides of the same fucking shitty garbage coin. Now, here is my point, Brian. When we talked about this being the census and whether or not it is treasonous, that is a system that you said yourself, I think you were trying to make the point, all hope isn't lost if the people can vote. Now, if the people need to vote to be able to change that system, won't the people who are most affected by that system be the people who are abused by it the most directly, these illegal immigrants? And therefore, if they're illegal, they can't vote. Wouldn't it actually make sense to go, they can't vote, but they're still here and they are still affected by our government. So we will make sure that representation where they are is still taken into account, just the numbers of them. They don't actually get to go vote and choose, but we get to say this community has an extra 100,000 illegal immigrants. And therefore, because this community has a lot of people, we'll distribute the number of seats that go into this area based on the people there, so that the people in the place who may be being abused by the law have a chance at representation. Wouldn't it actually be the case that regardless of whether or not, because again, we're not talking about changing the 435. I again apologize that I thought we were. We're talking about distributing where we're going to put these people, where or whether or not representatives that will still be duly elected only by citizens are based on where people are, regardless if they themselves can vote. Wouldn't that actually be a good thing? Or would you say that anyone who isn't a citizen, including legal immigrants, deserve zero representation, even by the census data?
I think only the people who are here legally should count in the census. But that's
if the illegal immigration system, as I think we just agreed to, was put into place by corrupt, shitty people to abuse them so that the rich people and the government, the people who run government, who have power, can benefit largely, those illegal immigrants should just fucking take all of that abuse and have even the smallest amount, which again, I looked it up. There's a chance that after 2020, the total number of representatives was 0 to 1 in favor of the Democrats, but it actually changes each time. And it, because of Texas and its size and other states that have been affected by it, like Alabama, Mississippi,
it could have been more.
That it actually evens out.
The fact that there's any illegal immigrants there factoring into our system is a problem.
But I think I just explained to you why it should be a feature. If people are there and they're affected by our government, they can't vote. They can't change it. But if you have more representation amongst the community of people who actually have these people as neighbors and might care about them and have a shot at helping them because they are there. They are still in our custody. They're within our borders. Do these people deserve nothing, never a chance of basically a better life because politicians and rich people benefit off of exploiting them. Because right now, what you are describing is such a minimal thing that maybe has a chance at getting them a little more noticed, but not actual representation. And in reality, we're going to give that, if anything, we need to do more because we have made it so hard for them to become here in legal status. But again, you said that you would have. Right now, legal immigrants don't get to vote for their representatives either. So if they're in a place until they are a citizen, you only get to if you're a citizen. So people who are here legally, went through the front door and stuff, still get no say in their representation, which is crazy. That we make the path to citizenship so hard for the people who are literally the backbone of our economy and being exploited. Brian, I cannot empathize with this. They get so little. Let's give them even less.
They shouldn't be here. They should be in their home country.
I disagree. I think they should be here. Completely should be here and have been granted legal status. And I think you already kind of agreed with that at the beginning, that it shouldn't have been so hard for them to get that legal status.
You're not hearing my point. My point is that it's illegal and that they're breaking the law. And if you want
who cares?
Looser immigration, well, that's really what it boils down to.
Brian, it's not yes, you're right. It's not an important law, specifically whether they're here illegally. Brian, did you drive your car today?
No.
Have you driven a car this week?
Let's say I did, yes.
Okay, great. You did drive your car this week, right?
I did.
Okay, great. Did you only go the exact speed limit? No less, no more?
No, I was down and I was above it.
Okay, great. So I think that if you did it safely and you were within the 5-mile limit or whatever, and to tell you the truth, I don't even care if you did it unsafely, if it was a way that didn't affect other people. If you've got a back road that nobody's on, you probably shouldn't, but whatever. I'm not, if you told me that, I wouldn't call the cops and insist they go do it, but you would have broken the law. Great. You broke the law. So let's say you legitimately went 10 miles an hour over. If you had gone 10 miles an hour over and killed somebody, you would have been put in prison for manslaughter. Now, you didn't kill somebody, you get pulled over. Just because you could be put away for manslaughter as a result of this 10 miles an hour over, doesn't mean because you went 10 miles and over that you deserve manslaughter charges. So just because they are here illegally does not mean they've met the threshold of therefore they deserve. We're not talking about whether or not the law says they get it. We're talking about deserve. You don't deserve the maximum fine for going 5 over, even though you qualify for the maximum fine. And a person who is here illegally, just for being here illegally and nothing else, does not deserve the maximum penalty of deportation. That's crazy. They're here. They're supporting our economy. They are a net benefit. Even all of the ones that people think are getting these crazy welfare and these Visa cards that they just make up, they're getting $1,500 a month. That shit's whatever. They are a net benefit. So yes, they broke a law. It's not an important law that they broke unless they break more, unless they commit manslaughter with their car. Then the 10 miles an hour charge might matter more, or we need to go more maximum. If they are just here illegally to go, boom, that's the law, the maximum penalty applies. That's crazy. And you don't feel that way anytime you get pulled over. Anyway, yes, officer, I was breaking that law. Put me in prison because speeding technically carries up to a 3-year possible. Give me the maximum, man. I did it. Give me the max.
Is there a question in there?
Nope.
I mean, if you kill somebody in manslaughter, you go to jail. You break the law. It's called justice. Liberty
I agree.
and justice.
I agree. Whether you were going 10 miles, so whether or not you were going 10 miles an hour over would be the difference between whether or not they would consider it manslaughter or potentially something else like negligence or active. Basically, there are lots of things that in traffic. What words am I trying to use? When it comes to traffic violations, you will be upgraded based on whether or not you are breaking the law at the time, other laws at the time. So if you kill somebody and they know you are also speeding, they will say that is basically more your intentional problem. They will upgrade the charges. We're talking.
It should match the intent.
We are talking about whether or not it matters what you did more.
I'm trying to steel man your argument.
Yeah, it's fine, but I don't think it's all that necessary because I think I gave it to you. Whether or not, if you speed, you don't deserve the maximum penalty unless you speed and do something worse as a result of the speeding. That makes sense, right?
Say that again?
If you speed, you don't deserve the maximum penalty when you are caught unless there was some other additional thing. So you speed and you accidentally kill somebody's dog. Let's say that actually isn't illegal where you are, because there are states where I don't think you would get. So if a result of your speeding ends up killing somebody's dog because you couldn't react to get out of the way, and that causes emotional damage to somebody, and they want to petition the court to make sure that you get a more severe penalty, you potentially would be deserving of that. But if you are speeding and you didn't do anything, you just got pulled over for speeding, you could have done something worse, but you didn't. But all we know so far is you've sped. We don't give you the maximum penalty because of those things. We don't give you the penalty then for manslaughter. And so we don't treat illegal immigrants the same because they overstayed a visa if they haven't done anything else wrong. We shouldn't. That's actually why there are still many here and why even Trump's not going to get rid of all of them, because they're good people. And it's not an important law to enforce if they haven't broken any other laws too.
Yeah, I'd say it is important if it affects the number of votes. And with the hypothetical thing,
the distribution of votes, not the number, right? This is where we disagreed earlier.
Yeah, the number of seats. And these people take votes on laws, and that has effect on
and they pay
legislation.
taxes.
But they're not citizens, and they shouldn't have that. And I guess it's a degree of flavor. And we voted for Trump, mostly. The majority of Americans voted for Trump.
Nope, that's incorrect. The majority of Americans did not vote for Trump. The majority of people who voted for Trump.
Yeah. That's fair. Right. True. And we gave him a mandate. I would consider it a mandate.
Brian,
that mandate is to clean up immigration, and he's doing it.
I get that you're on the wrong. I don't even agree with you that mandate was given, because what you have is a lot of people who voted for him going, holy shit, what? This is what his version of that is, including a lot of Republicans going, he's going way too far. So whatever you think the mandate was, he's been playing completely off book, and things that he said he wasn't going to do, he is now doing. But again, Brian, this is getting away from the original point. Your problem is just they're here illegally, therefore, and it shouldn't matter. And the number of votes, it minimally affects. What'd you say?
So you said it switched from one seat, right? But it could have been 10 seats.
And that historically, right? Because it's in all states, historically it switches back and forth which one it affects more. But again, those people are there and contributing to our economy. You're talking about a minimal potential benefit that they're not getting. Economy. No, they are not.
They're taking.
They are a massive. They are a massive net benefit to our economy. Massive.
My mother is a teacher, and she's retired now. But when she was a teacher, in upstate New York, we get a lot of. Not until recently, until the last 15 years or so, Mexican immigrants to the class who speak Spanish, and the students in those classes, their education suffered because not only were the classroom sizes over 25, 30 kids, where before it was 15, 20, the lesson had to be split up into teaching kids Spanish and English. And there's value to that, but there's also a detriment to that.
Brian,
in terms of
how am I to verify that what you just told me, first of all, is a true story, and that two, that the immigration status of those children were illegal? We don't.
It's a good question.
Right.
It's a good question.
Whether or not you're going to split up in, again, a melting pot country wouldn't have anything to do with that. And again, if we go back to the core issue we were agreeing to, if we were going,
the border was wide open,
and
for years.
So what?
I believe it's treasonous.
What years was it wide open?
The first 3 years of the Biden administration?
No. It was, he took away some executive orders, and again, by the end, got actually more conservative than Trump did. But net immigration for that period of time still does not exceed what an actual open border. That is not a wide open border. And the influxes that you had were of refugees, of people who were seeking. Again, none of the people that we actually worry about our problems, these what you are describing isn't being against illegal immigration. Your problem with this would be general immigration, because you could solve what you're just saying right now by just making immigration easy, making it not illegal by going open border. But you'd still have split Spanish classes, Brian. Is that okay?
If it's legal, yeah.
So your only problem with the story about what apparently happened to your mom is that you believe that these kids that I don't think you ever met, but that you believe that those children were here illegally.
I think a certain percentage of them were.
What? Okay,
Let's just say half of them were.
Okay, so if it was half of them, you would still have the class for the Spanish kids.
There shouldn't be one. There shouldn't be a single one. We should be a country.
Right, because we should make it easy for them to not be here illegally. I agree. None of those kids all the kids should have still been here, and they should have been here legally because the government made the process less stupid.
They should not break the law. The people who are here legally should get precedent.
Okay, then you need to go to prison the next time that you speed. Because we already went over this.
Somebody and kill them?
No, just for speeding. Because if you're doing everything else fine, and you're not harming anybody else, you should get the maximum penalty. You should be deported for just speeding.
Well,
that's what you sound like, Brian.
With a smile. So you're saying that the punishment doesn't fit the crime. The crime of coming into the country illegally, the punishment of kicking them out.
Correct. Is crazy.
It has a bigger. I mean,
it's a crazy punishment.
They broke the law in the first place. They shouldn't break the law.
Brian, go be them. Go be them. Seeking and maybe you will. Maybe you will get to be them with the direction our country is going. When you are seeking a better life, when you're coming from a horrible place, from a horrible economic position, these are people who the American dream was allegedly created for. Come here, give us your huddled masses. They'll actually have a shot here. And now we've gone, just kidding, only if you're white. Will it be that easy for you to get in and just operate however you want? Brian, we've got to wrap up.
That's a bad faith argument.
No, it isn't.
It's a bad faith argument.
No, it isn't. No, it isn't. It is well documented, the difference between how we treat immigration and people overstaying their visa because it's not about laws. It's about the way you are actually treated, because it comes down to the way people are going to treat you and who's going to decide to enforce it. It is why, again, as I said earlier, my mother overstayed her green card for a long time with zero worry. She only really got her citizenship because she wanted to start voting for Republicans, which is wild because they are the ones who, if she had continued to do that, apparently she'd be eligible for deportation now. It is disproportionate. And when you come here, you know that you have a different set of expectations. That's why Elon didn't sweat overstaying his visa when he was here illegally. It is disproportionately treated, and the just being here thing is technically illegal. That gives us a specific legal path. When they break another law, then you deport them. I wouldn't just say any law. I'm also not deporting the speeders.
Right. I mean, we obviously disagree. I think, your whole arguments are laced with racism, and you don't even realize it.
Yeah, and Brian, I think that your whole party is laced with racism and you don't even realize it. I think you basically voted for the Fourth Reich. So let's find out who's right based on the actual facts. And the fact of the matter is, Republicans will never deport all illegals because they know the economy will absolutely be devastated in a way that hurts billionaires.
10%, 10%. I mean, 360 million people, you take, 36 million of them, that's about 10%. That's the order. And that's what he's doing.
And he's not going to get rid of 36 million of them. It's not going to happen, Brian.
I don't think it's possible. But at least
I don't think he even has the intention to do it. Everything he is doing right now, they're literally doing these immigration enforcement videos where you got what's her face going out with her vest on, show we're out here to deport, blah blah blah, to make you feel like they're doing more. But then when you actually go and check the numbers, he's doing the same daily numbers as Biden was. I've no doubt he will actually increase it, but they're trying to make you feel now as a method of propaganda as though they're already doing more when they are not. So Brian, you love propaganda? You're sitting here accusing me of racism, and I'm telling you you're a propagandist from the Fourth Reich, and you're embracing it.
Well, if I took it seriously, I would be offended by it. But, I know who I am, and I've got love in my heart. And
Sir, you just used the phrase, and you don't even know it. So do you think I don't know who I am? You're literally describing that you think I'm deluded and you think I'm wrong. Well, I'm saying I think you're deluded.
You smuggled that in there.
Sir, you used the phrase and you don't even know it. That was your phrase what's that?
So what?
So now you're saying
like deluded.
you use the phrase and you don't even know it, but then you sat there and said, but I know who I am. The whole point would be, and you don't even know it. I returned it to you.
Well, you don't know me.
Right. You don't know me, but you apparently know enough about me to make that claim. It's so weird, Brian. You are getting bothered that I am making essentially the same accusations back at you, and you're going, yeah, but I don't know, but you don't know me. My whole point was, you think I'm racist. I think you're racist. So now let's go to the facts. But you're saying, well, I don't have to worry about that because I know myself. No, I don't think you know yourself. I don't think you know if you're being racist. And you don't think I know if I'm being racist. But it's a problem because you know yourself. This is a double standard. It's silly.
Can black people lift themselves up by their bootstraps?
You got bootstraps, Brian? The fucking bootstrap. What bootstraps do you think?
I'm asking you a question.
What bootstraps do you think they have?
Racism.
Go ahead. Expose my racism.
Can black people do without government assistance and be equal productive members of society?
Yes.
Without government assistance.
Yes, that is conceivably true that there are black people who. Are you asking if we took away all government assistance, would they have a equal access to opportunity? Because
they'd be just as good as everyone else, just as smart, just as capable, just as willing. Exactly. So why don't we take away those welfare?
Because we have. Oh, great. Thank you for asking that. Because we have an economic system in place that is meant to maintain the status quo, and the status quo is that if you are born rich, you will continue to be rich. If you are born middle class, you will continue to be middle class, and if you are born poor, you will continue to be poor. Please stop, Brian. Please let me complete. Let me finish. And since repealing slavery in America, we have never actually changed that system in a way to give equal access to opportunity. And we have made sure and are still making sure that there is disproportionate access to the things that other people get, the other benefits. You're over here talking about bootstraps. You're literally flooded with bootstraps if you are born already rich and white, and you are not if you aren't. So I'm glad that you asked the question. You are quite right that if we all had, and what's funny though, is the implication would be that it's the black people's fault that they aren't. If you don't think that that's true, why is it, do you think then, that black people are poor in America, more often are more likely poor?
It has to do with culture, unfortunately.
Oh, right. I'm the racist one, but you believe black people are keeping themselves poor with their culture.
Kids are not graduating high school.
Right. Why is that?
Home.
Why is that?
Well, you tell me.
Yeah.
You tell me.
Oh, great. Excellent. Let's go with a harder one. Where you could set me up. Why is there so much violent crime?
Of the population.
I'm the racist and you're the guy. I have the answer for you, Brian. It's called fucking poverty. Poverty? Yes. Poverty, if you keep people, yes. Are you serious?
So who's the racist now?
Wait,
who's the racist
Brian,
now?
I think the person who just used the percentage thing. Are you fucking serious? You don't know? You don't know that poverty actually leads to more violent crime? You don't know that poverty actually leads to unstable homes? You don't know that poverty leads to a lower number of people graduating? Because Brian, I think you have some incredible studying to do when you go research impoverished white places and you find out, oh fuck, the poor whites have very similar. hang on, Brian. I'm not done. It's going to blow your mind when you find out that the poor whites have very similar problems and occurrences to poor black people. It's just a matter of how many and how often poor whites there are in comparison, because of the systems in place that are here to guarantee that poor people remain poor. And because we have disproportionately applied that to black people in America, that means black people, if you are born black, you are going to have a much harder time escaping that poverty. It is true of every race that it is almost impossible to escape poverty. That is why if you are born poor of any race, you will likely die poor. Middle class, you'll die middle class, and rich, you will die rich. Because it much more matters what you are born into than how hard you work. That's why your bootstraps thing was so silly. The fact that it is apparently a revelation to you that poverty across all races, countries, everywhere, poverty leads to terrorism as well. What we did to Afghanistan, to Pakistan, to fucking Iraq, in impoverishing so many people, you can literally direct tie to the increases of violent terrorism in the decades to come. Brian, this is basic shit Republicans know. I don't know why you don't. I'll unmute you now.
I actually kept quiet. I wasn't interrupting you.
Good enough.
I think they can do it. 6% of the population is black, yet they make 50% of all murders. And I don't think
that's
poverty
funny.
Causes them.
Were you listening to Jimmy this entire time?
I think not at all. Also, I don't believe.
I don't think so either. Ugh, this is painful to listen to.
And correct?
You were saying that poverty puts people in a situation that's difficult, and there's a correlation between poverty and crime, regardless of whether or not you're white or black, right?
Yeah, across the board, violent crime, yes. And by the way, again, if you go to poor white areas, you still see a larger influx. Keeping in mind that if you are white and you have a poor area, you also probably have access to even more resources, which is why the biggest welfare states are these crazy. It's the wildest thing. Like Mississippi, super anti-welfare, and yet disproportionately people on welfare, including poor whites. Don't people from your end love Theo Von? Because Theo Von talks all the time about how poor white people and poor black people have way more in common than everybody realizes. Isn't that true, dude?
Losers.
Where did you get the number 6%?
Well, because 13% of the population is black, and half of that is male. And we're talking about black men. And
okay, got it. You said black men, not just black. You said black men?
No. Yeah, specifically black men. It's 50% of all murders in the United States take place from 6% of the population. And it's not because they're any different. It's because of culture. They are the same as everyone else.
But what race what race do they kill?
The problem. Say it again.
What is of that 50%? What race are the victims?
Mostly black.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter.
It does. It literally does, because it's entirely consistent with what I just explained to you as a world economic understanding that people have understood for a long time. No, they aren't just killing anybody. They're killing people in their own communities because you have...
Okay, then.
No, I know. Brian, you're sitting here pretending to be brilliant while making some of the most bad faith straw man shit I've ever seen. Of course I want to solve violent crime. You know how you do that? You solve fucking poverty. Let's take from the fucking rich and give it back to people who actually built these companies, who actually built this country. Let's redistribute their wealth in the form of very good education, very good initially for the period of time you need it, welfare programs that are going to guarantee that people have shelter, medical coverage, food, all that stuff. If you are in America because we can afford it, you by just the fact that you are able to be here means that you get all of those things. And these problems will solve themselves. But if instead you create a Hunger Games situation and you have these impoverished communities and you basically lock them in, you lock them out of good education, you reduce their education quality by also making sure that you pass laws that base the amount of education dollars on property taxes. So you have a community of people who also don't own very many properties because of that poverty, meaning they don't get very many education dollars. And you actually put them in a situation where a kid can even afford to stay in school until they graduate and not have to look for alternatives to making money. Oh, and by the way, you solve all the issues with while we all hum and ha over the things that come out of impoverished communities like drug trade and stuff. We also let that contribute to our economy, and we make sure that we're only going after the dealers and let's be clear, the brown people. But yeah, Brian, we could literally solve all of that because, and this is what I feel like I have to say to you after describing to you that, or after hearing from you that I'm the racist one, black people aren't lesser than us and will be with full access to what we have access to, just be able to take advantage of the American dream just as much as us. But right now they are held away from it as much as possible.
As long as you keep telling black kids that, then that's what they're going to think. And you're on the wrong side.
Keep telling
of it,
black
man.
kids what?
Keep telling black kids that they're not going to make it ahead in life, that there's this big oppressive system.
When the fuck have I said that? When am I telling black children that? I'm sitting
I don't think
in.
he's listening.
The only thing I do is I advocate for black people voting more, to not let white people like your boy Donald Trump convince them to not vote or not seek voting, to do whatever they have to do to get the crowd around these stupid voter ID laws and these voter suppression things. I absolutely think that we have no other choice but to get them to participate. But by the way, even in your bad straw man there at the end was a concession of my point. You're not actually disagreeing that those problems are there. You're disagreeing that white people are going to ever stop that. So therefore, black people must become in charge of fixing that situation, even against how they are being held. It's being held away from them. Brian.
The soft bigotry of low expectations.
Yeah, the blatant bigotry of your dumb racist shit you've said here today, because you have revealed that you clearly believe that it's something inside black people making them do this shit. No. It's just their culture. It's cultural. It's just important to them to be poor and murderous. That's you, Brian. Get the fuck out of here.
When you take a people and you strip them away from their home, you turn them into farm equipment like evil.
Yep.
And you strip them from all their culture, all their generational knowledge. You take that away from them, and then you start them off and say, "Go ahead." Right? Is that your argument?
No. What the fuck? That was the dumbest fucking summary of how slavery worked and how we went. I like how the getting them from Africa to here was like kind of okay, and then as soon as we go with and then you start them off. Start them off. We haven't gotten rid of black slavery in America now. We just disproportionately police their communities so that we can incarcerate them and use them as a source of cheap, legal American labor. The fuck are you talking about? Yes, it is.
There's not a single racist law. There's not a single racist law.
Yes. Oh my fucking God. Law, it doesn't matter. Even if you felt like that was true, it doesn't matter if the people who are enforcing laws disproportionately target. And by the way, racist laws are those which disproportionately target.
There's no racist laws.
If you disproportionately police one community, despite the fact that crimes are committed at the same rate across all communities, and you also have... Brian, are you going to actually listen to the fucking point? It wouldn't matter whether or not the law says go get black people. If you can find that when tried, a black person is several times more likely to get a harsher sentence than a white person, there is your racist law. There is your racist implementation of the law, enforcement of the law. And this is where these systems are. Incorrect.
Yes, they are.
No, when studied,
it's not entirely
okay, Brian, yes, it's not their fault because you think that they can't handle their bootstraps or whatever. It's just cultural. It's fucking, Brian, the amount of fucking information that you are, how far away you are on this, you are many libraries away. Dude, it's insane. I'm just going to return it to you. I think you're so fucking racist and you don't even know it. But I promise we wouldn't take that much longer.
I think black people can do it. I think black people can do it.
Except for you clearly don't. You think you're sitting here trying to recover. You're literally sitting here trying to recover. I think that black people shouldn't be forced to recover and pull themselves up by their bootstraps when they have an entire government standing around them with whips, and I'm using the racist imagery on purpose, hitting them every time they fucking reach for it. And I think you support that system in place.
Keep telling
the black kids. Okay, bye, Brian. I'm done. It's just so fucking boring. It's so fucking boring. I'm sitting here telling you that. I think another white person. It has nothing to do with what I'm telling the black kids. The black kids I'm going to advocate for and try to get them to equal access. And it's literally, again, when you're saying keep telling the black kids that, you're not disagreeing with the point. You're saying don't tell the black kids that that's happening when it's fucking happening. Deal with it, Brian. Jesus fucking Christ. Stop being such a racist. Anyway, does Ben need to call back to tell me whether or not I handled that one okay?
I was literally about to say, Ben, I wonder how he thinks we handled that, because I would have hung up on that person a long time ago and said much meaner things than calling him a bitch. So
yeah, that time I think I limited myself to just racist, and only after I had been called a racist. I like how
he was being outright racist. So yeah, like that.
But, right.
That was wild. It didn't take very long to go from the guy calling in about why he likes Trump's immigration plans to getting to overt
6% commit half of the murder. Fucking
Christ.
I just want to. I just think it's fucking wild. By the way, it's closer to 7% now, just for the record, that black men
also,
would be.
I have a tornado watch and vocals I have to get done before a storm hits. So
you have to get a tornado watch?
No, the tornado watch is happening, but I have to try to.
I know. I was teasing you for that. I was being pedantic about the phrasing of your question.
Also, nothing gives me more fear in life than tornado things. So I'm excited about this night and how it's going to go for me.
It's funny how there's so much that has to be exaggerated. And I think it's maybe this thing where it's like, well, it was only a slight exaggeration, but he took 6%, 7% made it 6%. And then FBI data from 23, it would only be 40%. So why are we upgrading? And again, it is happening within their own communities, because that's the places where they are basically forced to exist. Redlining still goes on. Fucking black people were being denied their GI bills this year and last year. Like the fucking idea that there's not a single racist law. You think if a racist law is only that one that says black people, we hereby declare black people do not get such and such, then you're not fucking paying attention. It's amazing that when the boot's not on your neck, how you can't see the boot elsewhere. You're only seeing the fucking boot straps. You're constantly of the assholes whose boots you are licking. I'm saying boot too many times. It made sense in my head. You're licking a lot of boots. You're seeing a lot of bootstraps when you're licking them. And you think that everybody has bootstraps. We'll call the next set, we'll call them Brian Crow laws instead of Jim Crow. I promise, I hope you had a good show. I hope you had a good time here. Sorry, people, we unfortunately will not have, or you're saying you don't have time for soups at this point, I assume, right? I've way overkept you what we were planning anyway.
I mean, how many pages of them are there?
Oh, probably not many pages. Let me look. We're still on one page.
Okay, let's do them. Let's just get there quickly.
And we'll just say, for new super chats who come from here on, only $10 and up will be read, but we'll read the $5 and up that have come so far. Does that sound fair?
If we go through them fast, I can stay.
Word. That's why I put the price cap. I felt like that would handle it. Oh, shit.
Except sometimes.
Except sometimes is right. I do have to fix a window. Please don't be mad. Don't leave. It's going to take a second. How's your cat?
I don't have any pets.
Yeah. Didn't you have a cat that had adopted you, though?
Yeah, the neighborhood cat. He's still hanging out every day.
How's that going?
Even when I leave for months at a time, and then he's still back again. I'm trying to ignore him, and my neighbor is actively looking for a cat home for him because he needs an actual home instead of just being the neighborhood cat. Obviously, I'm only here half the time, so I can't be close to the cat. So I'm trying to pretend like I don't like the cat.
Why
So
are you
I'm
trying to
ignoring the
ignore him?
Because I'll be attached and the cat is going to another home. Oh my gosh, everybody in the chat is freaking me out, telling me be safe and saying tornadoes are no joke. I know, that's why I'm freaking out right now, guys.
Yeah, I have like
Somebody tell me they're not a big deal.
I have a phobia of them, but a tornado watch isn't a big deal. The like level of chances that
It's a
anything's gonna
bigger deal
happen.
than no watch.
Sure,
So-
but by the time you're out of watch, the level of like the chance that anything's going to happen to you is still extremely, extremely low. Warning isn't until a warning. You don't have to like.
Let me tell you, all the
Be
things that
worried.
have happened to me in my life,
No,
they were the rare things that's not supposed
I have
to
a
happen
tornado
to anybody.
phobia, and my house,
Yeah.
my neighborhood, and possibly my house. I've been gaslit about it, but got hit by a tornado my first year here. The whole house shook like it was a train. It was neighborhood was all fucked up.
That's really terrible. It happened to me as a kid.
It wasn't. It literally like I think it tore the doors off of a firehouse, like a big aluminum doors off of a firehouse, but it otherwise only did like shingle damage in most places.
Guys, thanks. Everyone in this chat is being so nice, kind of.
Credo Mott says, I volunteer as tribute. I don't remember what that was to. Blind Limey says, the current administration is committing many different outrages that I'm discovering different flavors of anger. I'm the Baskin Robbins of rage over here. Monkey
Do you
at the
want me to
top.
read any of these? Or you're just going to read
Do you want me to go
That's
fast?
great.
I thought you wanted fast.
Oh, I just thought we were going back and forth. But no, this is great. I'll just sit.
If we were off air, you know the jokes I would have made, I think. I caught
Yeah,
what
but-
I was saying, and then I was like, oh my God. Oh my God. Where's Yuka? I gotta.
He's
don't
listening, laughing right now.
She likes
okay,
it
I'll
fast,
just
huh,
read.
Yuka?
Jesus Christ. $5 for Monkey at Typewriter. Hey, Promise, just want to make sure you know I've been working on my homework. I'll be seeing you Tuesday. Good show. Love you guys and my line crew. Damn it. Will, I need to work on my homework better. This is a chewed gum thing that you wouldn't understand, Jimmy. But okay.
By the way,
I'm
y'all,
on it.
the line, people at the line's Patreon get an extended bonus shows with the thing, and you can go there. And I think episode 1 or 2's bonus show was resulted in the greatest things that have happened with Promise and Yuka, because we discussed Promise
Oh,
being
God.
a
I don't
pillow
want to talk about
princess,
this on here.
but
Jesus Christ,
we'll,
Jimmy.
we'll leave it there. We'll leave it there. It's on. It's recorded. It's there.
It's
You
on the
said you were
bonus
open,
show.
but I'm
Now
trying
it's
to
just
get
out
them
here.
to go pay for it and go
Okay,
find
guys.
out the
So
story
what?
behind
Next
it.
super chat. Next
Go to the
super
line.
chat.
Go to the line. Call Q&A or the patreon.com/call the line. You're right. Let's do the next super chat. Quantum Chaos says, where does the mansplaining jerk get his water? From a well, actually. Haha, I cracked myself up. Yeah, I'm a well, actually kind of guy. Mo says,
My
Jimmy's
God.
audio channel is tied to the collar and is overdriven when turned up. I have my volume at 10%. Please check the levels after this call. The first part of that's not correct, but I think I already explained that.
Well, that was earlier. Yeah.
I think we fixed it. David Lessinger says, the way the government looks to me right now, President Musk, Vice President Trump, First Gentleman J.D. Vance, sending love to all the peeps at the line. Y'all keep me sane. J.D. Vance is the cousin Oliver, if anything. Get in the basement. Retro. Brian Deft believes in the Republican white replacement theory, LMO. I think we found out, in my opinion, Dems are too militaristic in their border policy. We don't have a left and right wing. We have a right and center right wing. That's correct. I think we found out Brian had other racial theories tonight, too. Ari Turner says, there are 3 emergent elections coming up this year, 2 in Florida in April and 1 in New York, supposedly. Dems on the ground are mobilizing for it. Here's hoping something happens good. Nadia Yvette Chambers says, I fled the country before Inauguration Day. Full criminalization of LGBT people and the death penalty for abortion and maybe much more are very clearly en route, and D's will roll over for an outright Holocaust. I don't think we're going to get to death penalty and full criminalization, but I think they will get as close to as cruel as they can get. But too many Christian moms have gay kids. I think that full criminalization, unfortunately, I think full criminalization of being trans is probably on its way. But I doubt we're going to meet.
They're trying actively.
Get it. Yeah, for sure. Balthazar 228 says we need open borders. Barnes & Noble and Amazon pale in comparison. Borders started the whole cafe bookstore concept. Hilarious. It is funny, the more you talk to people about open borders and you actually tell them what an open borders policy is, before you reveal to them that it is, they're like, no, I agree with that. Yeah, Ellis Island was great.
Right.
Those were the great days.
Right. Then you tell them and then.
Moron!
Yeah.
And last one from Nuzzy D. I work in the food manufacturing industry. We are already seeing negative economic effects from Trump's policies. Get ready to pay higher prices, Brian. Yep. Tariffs are going to raise them and raise them and raise them. And I hope people like Brian will at least be able to see. I doubt that they're ever going to admit that Trump was a mistake against Harris, but maybe they'll think maybe we should have had.
Hopefully, it just causes them to swing further again back to the other side and be like, "Well, this guy isn't working for us, so now we'll move on to not a fascist."
Well, they're still going to pick fascists. They'll just be like,
yeah.
I was going to say maybe they would have picked Nikki Haley, but let's be real. Nikki Haley was never going to win. She's too brown. Too brown, too woman. Too brown, too woman. Why is this not adding it? Oh, it did. Raven 200 says, remember to consensually slap that big buttons, big, thick, bouncing, peachy derriere. Make that like button moan your name, everyone. That like button loves the attention. Jimmy, go fuck yourself. I'm sure that was probably, no, Raven's cool. Raven just sends weird stuff. I think most people who would send that super chat were banking on you reading that and not me, but this is what you got.
Sorry, it didn't work out that way.
What if I'd done it as Trump? Slap that thick, bouncing, peachy derriere. Frankly, the derriere that is so... I prefer a tangerine derriere to match my face. All right.
Honestly, at this point, I've heard you do the voice so much more than I've heard Trump that when I hear Trump, I'm like, you're not doing it right.
Yeah, his impression sucks.
His impression sucks so bad.
Okay, that's the show. Sorry. This is so when I want.